the most epic Zodiac Knights system. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151 Glory. Phoenix wings fly in the sky. Fierce winds tore through the void. Flames rose and swirled, and the phoenix dragged its colorful tail feathers, swooped down, and spread its wings to strike horizontally. Boom. The land turned into a scorched earth, and the rocky mountains that stretched for hundreds of miles were burned and decomposed, turning into tiny crystal sand grains. The sky shook, red sparks fell, and the space twisted and shattered. Yanqing surpassed himself at any time before, and swung the strongest punch. However, the man just stretched out a finger and easily resisted the impact of the fire phoenix. Yanqing's pupils suddenly contracted. How could this be possible? You have a good momentum, and have walked your own way to become an immortal. As expected, you are the strongest among the three. However, unfortunately, you are as far away from my level as the sky and the earth. The man's expression returned to calm, and he gently stretched out a finger and pointed forward. Go back. The fire phoenix involuntarily let out a whine, and was forcibly turned in direction. The flames were also many times stronger than before, and crashed into Yanqing. Yanqing retreated violently, and used the aurora lightning to attack, but the ice crystals were quickly evaporated by the raging flames, and the phoenix pounced on him in an instant. Ah! Yanqing screamed in pain. His whole body was covered with flames, his body burned to charcoal, like a black rotten wood. He fell straight down, without a breath. Can't even hold on for a single move. The combat power is just so-so. Just relying on these three humans, it is not enough to destroy the military power of my Zerg on this planet. There is the breath of the human quasi-saint and Jace in the air. It seems that they died together. The man whispered, guessing the truth. I, Gulu, led the Wyvern clan to set up shields outside the space. I didn't expect Jace to be so useless that he failed at the last minute. Big brother shouldn't have given this task to this waste. But it can still be saved. This planet still has half of its vitality. I will kill all the creatures, harvest nutrients, and build an insect pool. Then I will summon Big Brother to come again. Gulu ignored Yanqing and the other two on the ground. Just as he was about to move forward, there was a crackling sound behind him. A red line flashed and approached his forehead. The red line was very fast and instantly sank into Gulu's eyebrows. Gulu's face immediately showed a confused look. Before, even Yang, a saint, was in a defensive state and was hit by this move. Yanqing quickly stood up. He used the mantra of the word soldier. The charred skin and bones fell off, and his body returned to its peak state again. Facing this extremely powerful man in front of him, Yanqing did not think twice and used the Phoenix Magic Fist before he could react. This is the only move that can threaten a quasi-saint or even a saint. 5-color divine light turns into a sword. Yanqing stretched out his hand and grasped the 5-color sword. His spine bent like a bow. He threw it out like a spear, and a 5-color light flashed across and pierced Gulu's head. Clang. Sparks flew everywhere, and the sword broke apart directly. It bounced back. Come again. Yanqing roared and rushed forward, grasping the sword that was flying backwards. He thrust it out with force, and the 5-color divine light fell. Clang. The sword was against Gulu's chest. Sparks flew everywhere, but no matter how hard Yanqing tried, no matter how much energy he had, he couldn't pierce it. Damn. Yanqing frowned. Even if he could make Gulu fall into an illusion, if he couldn't break the defense, all his efforts would be in vain. Boom. Boom. Gulu's heart suddenly beat vigorously, like a drum, and a 2-legged flying dragon appeared behind him, and the dragon's golden pupils stared at Yanqing. He's about to wake up. Yanqing was solemn. Was there really no way out? Could they just let this guy wake up and destroy the creatures on Langio Star? They had finally killed Jace. 4 million insect soldiers. How could they fail at this moment? If they really lost here, then Lengyue, Guzang, Xiao Bei, and even Qin Xiang would die. He couldn't let this happen no matter what. Oh, there's another trick. Yanqing had a flash of inspiration. Gulu's eyes trembled, as if he was about to wake up. Yanqing could feel that the illusion he created was about to break. Whoosh! Yanqing came behind Gulu, locked Gulu's body with both hands, rose high into the sky, and disappeared into the sky. Pegasus spinning crushing fist. Yanqing couldn't control this trick at all. If he couldn't control it well, he would most likely be seriously injured. But in order to defeat this terrifying enemy, this might be the only trick. The two of them rose higher and higher. 3,000 meters, 4,000 meters, 10,000 meters. It's still not high enough. Yanqing muttered silently. His microcosm burned to the limit. The light was as bright as the stars. The speed increased again, directly broke through the atmosphere, and the altitude was still increasing. Yanqing, I'm sorry, I can't help you this time. Leng Yi struggled to get up, raised his head, looked up at the sky, and said. He clenched his fists, his nails dug into the flesh, and blood dripped down. Please, I must win. Gu Zhang's eyes were soaked with blood, and he murmured unconsciously. His spirit was greatly devastated, and his congenitally weak body was seriously injured. At this moment, he was hovering on the edge of death, and was in danger. Outside the atmosphere, Yanqing saw a group of two-legged flying dragons staying in space. This was Gulu's army. Fortunately, these two-legged flying dragons were like the insect soldiers on the ground, without wisdom. Otherwise they would definitely attack Yanqing and stop Yanqing. Whether we win or lose, it depends on this time. Yanqing closed his eyes, reversed at high speed, and crashed into Yanqing. Boom. The two fell like meteors. Yanqing's body was burning. If it weren't for the Bing mantra, his body would have disintegrated. At this time, Gulu's body finally couldn't hold on anymore, and tiny blood stains appeared on his skin. Yanqing laughed. It finally worked. Swish. Gulu's consciousness finally came back to him when he was about to hit the ground. This is what a human. Gulu immediately understood his situation, and an angry look appeared on his calm face. If he fell like this, even he would be seriously injured. Don't dream, a weak human wants to lock me up. He struggled to break free, using the power of the Zerg King, the Wyvern, but the result was beyond his expectation. He was still firmly locked by Yanqing. Impossible, I can't break free. How can this human be stronger than me? Gulu was shocked. Heh, you bug. Don't underestimate humans. Even ants can defeat dragons someday. Yanqing grinned and smiled hard. His wrist was shining with golden light, which was the light of the Taurus wristband. With the Lin word mantra in the Taurus wristband, with 100 times the power, no matter how strong Gulu was, he couldn't break free for a while. Human. Gulu roared, and a sense of crisis of death surged into his heart. Getting closer and closer to the ground, Yanqing smiled hard and grinned. His vocal cords were burned through at this moment, and he could only say 2 words silently, and the shape of his mouth was, die. Boom. A white meteor fell, and a shocking explosion occurred on Star. The smoke and dust were raised 10,000 meters high. The explosion could be seen outside the space, and it affected hundreds of thousands of miles, most of Star. To be continued, Chapter 152. I will protect everything. P.S. I was busy until after 2 o'clock. Well, this chapter has more than 3,000 words, which is more than 1,000 words more than usual. Finally, I would like to thank my friend Sun Guangmio for his reward. I rolled around and acted cute to ask for subscriptions and rewards. After Yanqing used the Pegasus spinning crushing fist, he consciously chose a place where life was dying as the landing site. That place was 700 miles away from Shaoyang Mountain, but even at such a long distance, the seriously injured Leng Yi and Gu Chang almost died in the earthquake caused by the explosion. Did you win? Leng Yi stood up shakily and looked at the landing site in the distance. He gritted his teeth, and the cold air condensed in his hands, freezing the unconscious and bleeding Gu Chang so that Gu Chang's injuries would not worsen. He then carried the ice that sealed Gu Chang on his back and fixed it with 3 huge rocks so that even if an earthquake occurred, Gu Chang's safety could be guaranteed. The reason why Leng Yi placed Gu Chang in this way was because he had something to do, something that he had to do. No matter who wins, I will go there. Leng Yi used the abundant energy after breaking through the realm, took a big step, and ran towards the place where he fell. Along the way, Leng Yi kept coughing up blood, his chest was sunken, and many bones were broken. If it weren't for the ability to connect to the world and replenish energy after breaking through the realm, he might have fallen down and died before he got halfway. More than an hour later, Leng Yi, with a pale face, arrived at the destination. This place should have been a continuous and majestic mountain range, but it had been flattened at this time, and a large pit with a diameter of several miles appeared on the ground. Leng Yi looked down and saw only darkness. There was no bottom at all. Bang! Leng Yi kicked a stone down, and it took more than 14 seconds before the sound of it falling to the ground was heard. Even if there is the factor of air resistance, this depth is probably **100 meters. The destructive power of Yanqing's trick is really too terrible to the extreme. Leng Yi murmured. Is Yanqing doing well now? Did he deal with the 5th class insect general? Even if he is still alive, he must be seriously injured. Leng Yi took off his coat, wrapped it around his chest, and slid down along the edge of the pit to witness the final result. If Yanqing loses, he must take over Yanqing and continue to fight with Gulu. Leng Yi climbed on the pit wall with one hand in the darkness. He descended little by little, and after an unknown amount of time, Leng Yi finally touched the cold and solid ground. It's the bottom. Leng Yi fell gently and moved silently at the bottom of the pit. At present, he didn't know who won, so he had to be careful. Boom. 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 A faint sound came, as if something was beating. Leng Yi's face changed drastically. This was the beating of the 5th class insect general's heart. When Yanqing used the Phoenix Magic Fist to freeze the 5th class insect general, he heard it clearly from the side. The 5th class insect general is not dead, so Yanqing is defeated. Leng Yi's heart was filled with unspeakable sadness. Although the time he spent with Yanqing was not long, he had a very happy time. In many ways, Yanqing taught him a lot with his own behavior. Yanqing was not only his friend, but also a brother who had lived and died together. Since you are dead, then I will take your place, Leng Yi said silently, and the little energy left in his body began to circulate. The cold air condensed, but did not emit, and he walked quietly in the direction of the sound. Judging from the strength of the heartbeat, Leng Yi could feel that the 5th class insect general was in a very weak state, and he should be able to kill it. Insightful eyes. Leng Yi's eyes were cold. This was the ultimate skill of the Ice Palace, used to deduce the future and see through everything. Although he was not good at practicing and could not reach that level, it was more than enough to see things in the dark. With his insightful eyes, Leng Yi saw a two-legged flying dragon resting in the center of the pit. Its wings were broken, revealing its white bones. One of its legs was also broken, and there were many deep wounds all over its body. Next to it, Yanqing was lying in a pool of blood. His face was blue, and he was already dead. Yanqing! Leng Yi screamed in pain in his heart. Although he was mentally prepared, the moment he really saw it, his sadness was about to overflow. He quickly turned his head away, not daring to look at Yanqing, for he was afraid that tears would flow out and get out of control. The most urgent task was to kill this 5th class insect general and collect Yanqing's body. I believe Yanqing will also understand the importance of the matter and forgive him. It has returned to its original form. It seems that it was injured too badly. Leng Yi looked at the wyvern and turned to its left side. From the knowledge of the Zerg that he had learned from the Ice Palace, he knew that the weakness of the wyvern was a diamond-shaped scale on the lower left side of its abdomen. As long as the diamond-shaped scale was broken, the strength of the wyvern could be weakened by half, or even the wyvern could be killed directly. Leng Yi suppressed his breath and restrained his breath like an ordinary stone. He couldn't let the wyvern notice the abnormality and become alert, otherwise everything would be over. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Leng Yi was only 3 meters away from the left abdomen of the wyvern at this time. He couldn't get any closer. The insightful eyes warned him that if he got any closer, he would be discovered. Leng Yi held his breath. Breathing would cause airflow to flow, which would definitely attract the attention of the 5th level insect general. He would not miss any of these details. All of Leng Yi's actions were perfect. Freeze with a snap of the fingers. Leng Yi attacked at lightning speed, and several thick ice pillars formed and blasted towards the diamond-shaped scales on the left abdomen of the flying dragon. Whoosh! Gilu's eyes suddenly opened, and he felt a cold chill, with a killing sound. There is an enemy. Gilu's golden pupils were filled with horror. Before He underestimated humans and was taken into space by Yanqing's move and fell at a super high speed, so he almost died. Fortunately, when it was about to hit the ground, it broke free from Yanqing's restraints and turned back to its original form, so it didn't die, but it was seriously injured and almost died. In this bottomless pit, it repaired its injuries. It thought it would be safe here, but it didn't expect that one of the other two humans he injured would find this place and attack its vitals. Clang! Gulu forcibly shifted his body by a few centimeters, causing the ice pillar to hit the ordinary scales on the left side of the diamond-shaped scales. Sparks flew everywhere, but it paid a heavy price for doing so. The original injury was instantly aggravated, and a large amount of green blood spit out from the dragon's mouth full of fangs. Avoided. Leng Yi's face was solemn. He was determined to win with all his strength, but it actually missed. How sharp was the evasion awareness of this 5th level insect general? Human, die. Gulu roared angrily. The dragon claws as big as millstones quickly stretched out, as fast as the wind. Leng Yi was about to dodge, but the wound on his chest suddenly hurt, and his body could not help but stagnate. Not good. Leng Yi wanted to move again, but it was too late. Bang! The dark green dragon claws grabbed his chest, and the 5 toes penetrated Leng Yi's body, leaving 5 blood holes. Leng Yi's internal organs and bones were cruelly torn out. Puff! Leng Yi spurted blood and convulsed all over. His body fell forward, but stopped with difficulty, retreated backwards, and confronted Gulu. He couldn't fall here. Yanqing failed. He must take the lead. He has friends on Lanjiao Star. Xiao Bei, Qin Xiang, Gu Zhang, his subordinates, Chen Zi and Guking. For them, Leng Yi, will fight to the end. Leng Yi took off and kicked out with both feet. Gulu spread one wing to defend. Leng Yi suddenly swung out a cold air, freezing Gulu's wings, then stepped on the frozen place with his left foot to take off, and hit Gulu's chin with his right foot, kicking him out. Human. Gulu felt humiliated. He was a 5th class insect general, a 2-legged dragon king who was about to become an insect commander, but he was kicked away by someone who was not even as good as an insect general. If he could not even use the law now, he would not be so aggrieved. Thinking of this, Gulu looked at Yanqing, the culprit who caused all this, with anger in his eyes. Leng Yi pressed forward again, swinging his fists, and fought fiercely with Gulu. Leng Yi aimed at the wounds on Gulu's body. There were many scales attached to other intact places, and he could not break them at all. Only by opening the wounds could he severely injure Gulu. Bang, bang, bang. Blood and flesh collapsed. Broken bones flew. Leng Yi's blood had lost 60% of his body. Dozens of bones were pulled out of his body by Gulu. One side of his body was without the support of bones, almost a pool of mud. If it were an ordinary person, he would have died by now. Guzan was also very miserable. Only the root of one of his wings was connected to his body. The scars on his body were torn everywhere, and huge bones were pulled out of his body. Leng Yi used the remaining energy to support his body, and his spirit did not fall asleep because of his strong will, but even so, his eyes were blurred. The large amount of blood loss made Leng Yi fall into a dizzy state. Lam's teachings appeared in his mind at this time. Remember, Leng Yi, you must always remain cool and cold like an iceberg that has not melted for billions of years. Don't let emotions disturb your heart. Only in this way can you become strong and become the master of my ice palace and revive the glory of the 1,000-year-old ice palace. Leng Yi thought of Lan's words, and the corners of his mouth suddenly curved up, as if he was smiling. I'm sorry, master. I really can't be absolutely cold as you said. I've been confused and don't know how to put your teachings into practice. If a person puts aside all emotions and remains cold, is he still a human being? Is he still a living person? Until you let me follow Yanqing. Now I'm finally no longer confused, because he has conveyed his emotions to me through his actions during these days. That is the most beautiful feeling. It makes me understand that people should have rich emotions and should not suppress themselves in their emotions. If I'm to become a person without emotions in the future, I would rather not inherit the ice palace. I want to go my own way. My heart is burning. I can feel the care of my friends and the loyalty of my subordinates. I must respond to their feelings. I don't want to be an iceberg that is cold and inaccessible. I just want to be a person with emotions. I can't fall here. I must not fall at this moment. I can only die after I get rid of this 5th rank insect general. Friends and subordinates, everything is protected by me. Leng Yi staggered forward and fought to the death with Gulu. Leng Yi and Gulu, who were immersed in the battle, did not notice that Yanqing, who was lying on the ground, was emitting a faint light all over his body. A cold white bird suddenly appeared on its own. Along with the white bird, there was also a shining bronze holy cloth box. To be continued. Chapter 153. I believe in him, just as he believes in me. Yanqing fell to the ground, trapped in a pool of blood. His body almost turned into meat paste. His face was blue, his whole body was cold, obviously dead. He never controlled the Pegasus spinning crushing fist. After looking unwillingly at Gulu, who survived, his consciousness was extinguished. However, Yanqing had a Saint CI system in his body, which could revive him again. The host's body collapsed. The soul escaped. The backup energy was sufficient. Start the soul protection and body repair program. The voice of the system sounded in Yanqing's dead sea of consciousness, and at the same time, a dazzling golden light rose from the highest place in the Holy Land. Bang! The golden light shone like the sun, illuminating the entire sea of consciousness with a golden color. 12-leaf golden lotuses continued to emerge on the ground, layer upon layer, as many as the sands of the Ganges, endless. The lotus swayed, creating golden ripples, and Yanqing's soul, which was supposed to escape and disappear, was gathered bit by bit, and gathered into a human-shaped light body in the center of the sea of consciousness. Host, wake up, host. The system's voice was like a great bell, deafening, resounding in the depths of Yanqing's soul, awakening his consciousness. Ding. The golden light rippled, gently falling off the human-shaped light body, and the soul turned into Yanqing's appearance. System, you are calling me. I almost sank into endless darkness and couldn't wake up. Yanqing's soul barely made a wave. He looked around and realized that he was in the sea of consciousness. So I'm not dead. I'm really lucky. I was awakened by you again. Host, if it weren't for the energy left after the last system upgrade, I wouldn't be able to save you. The system said lightly. So that's it. Zion just saved me once. Yanqing sighed. His soul became clearer and gradually recovered. System. What's the situation outside? At the last moment of the collision, although the 5th level insect general broke free from my restraints, he should have been seriously injured and dying. I have to deal with it quickly. Yanqing's soul finally condensed at this time. I'm sorry, host, you can't do it at the moment. Yanqing was stunned by the system's answer. Why is that? Didn't you resurrect me? If we don't kill the enemy quickly, everyone will die. Yanqing said anxiously. Host, although your soul has recovered, it cannot enter the body because you are dead, and the body rejects the soul. The last time the host was resurrected in the ice coffin, it was because there was still life left. But this time, the host is really dead, and the life has disappeared. Can't I return to the body? Yanqing's soul flickered violently, showing his emotional excitement. Yes, but it will take a long time. It will not be less than half a month, so the host cannot defeat the enemies outside at this time. The system explained calmly. How can this be? When I return to the body, it will be too late. It will all be useless. Yanqing was sad. When he thought of Xiao Bei, Leng Yi, and Xianja dying, his soul, which had just healed, tended to break again. Host, please calm down. You don't have to deal with the enemy, and you are not the only one fighting. Look. The system's voice became heavier. Pop. A golden mirror appeared in front of Yanqing. On it, a two-legged dragon with broken wings and a young man with a crippled body and 5 blood holes in his chest were fighting desperately, exchanging their lives for each other's. Leng Yi. Yanqing's eyes suddenly widened. His originally excited mood suddenly calmed down. In this mirror, he saw a different Leng Yi. At this time, Leng Yi's face was no longer cold. There were all kinds of emotions intertwined in his pair of blue eyes. His soft golden hair was stained with blood and dust. Although his figure was in a mess, he had an extraordinary temperament. You take over from me and come to fight. You are worthy of it. This time he had no way to protect what he wanted to protect. He thought he would face an unbearable ending, but fortunately Leng Yi appeared, took over the burden, and carried it firmly on his shoulders. Yanqing was silent, and the images of Leng Yi slowly emerged from his memory. from the first time he met Leng Yi to the two of them fighting against the enemy together. Although the time was short, they experienced a lot. Unknowingly, he and Leng Yi had changed from strangers to comrades in arms who shared life and death. Not good. Yanqing's face suddenly changed. In the mirror, Leng Yi fell into a disadvantage. His chest was hit hard by Gulu again, tearing out several bones. Puff. Leng Yi vomited blood, but his body stood firm. He quickly swung his fist, but for some reason, his fist missed and landed on the intact part of Gulu's body, sparks flying. Yanqing saw that Leng Yi's mind was blurred due to excessive blood loss. If this continued, he would not be able to kill the enemy, let alone survive. Yanqing was anxious. What should he do? He tried everything, but it was useless. Z had the help of the system. Yanqing couldn't help but shout, "System, is there any way to help Leng Yi?" "There is only one way." The affirmative voice of the system surprised Yanqing. This time the system finally got it right at the critical moment. "What is it?" Yanqing asked. "That is to make Leng Yi a Saint Sire." The words of the system sounded like a thunder in Yanqing's heart. Leng Yi, can he become a Saint Sire? Leng Yi is the best candidate to become a Saint Sire of the White Bird. After finding his own way, no one is more suitable than him to inherit the White Bird heritage. The host was stimulated by the cold air and then got the inheritance, which was a forced indoctrination. Leng Yi is different. His life trajectory and everything he experienced are in line with the characteristics of the White Bird. He can exert the maximum power of the White Bird's secret. The system was obviously very excited when talking about this. If Leng Yi inherits the White Bird heritage, he can immediately recover from his physical injuries, and his realm will at least break through one realm, enough to kill the enemy. The system spoke, was silent for a while, and then said, "Whether the host is willing to accept this method, I'm your system, and this decision is up to you of course." Yanqing came back to his senses and quickly interrupted the system's words, saying firmly, "Host, why are you so determined? Are you not afraid of your secret being exposed? Are you not afraid of the system being transferred to Leng Yi?" The system's voice was strange, and it said to Yanqing, "I'm not afraid." Yanqing said seriously, "Leng Yi, I believe in him, just as he believes in me. By the way, is there enough energy? Can you make a White Bird cloth for Leng Yi, like you made the Pegasus cloth before?" Yanqing remembered the first time he inherited the Pegasus heritage, and got the cloth. "Host, it's possible, but it will delay your awakening for a long time." The system hesitated. "It doesn't matter. Isn't this what you proposed? Why are you trying to stop me at this time?" "This won't work." Yanqing smiled carefreely, not caring at all. The system was silent. In a trance, Yanqing seemed to hear a sigh and the word idiot. "Okay, host, I will make the White Bird cloth according to your wish, and give it to Leng Yi. However, host, in order to make Leng Yi believe and accept the inheritance, I will use the telepathy to let your voice reach Leng Yi's heart and convince him. It's great that we can still talk, system, please." Although Yanqing's conversation with the system was very long, it was a spiritual communication, and in fact, only less than a second passed. At this time, Leng Yi was still fighting with Gulu, but there were many more wounds on his body. One arm was torn off directly, and blood spurted out. Boom. Leng Yi's consciousness was muddled, and his mental strength had dropped to the lowest point. His consciousness was like a weak spark, about to go out. Gulu grinned, and finally he could get rid of the ant in front of him. He stretched out his dragon claws, and his strength was heavy. Even without the blessing of Yuan Gang, and being seriously injured, he could split the rock and crush Leng Yi's head. At the critical moment, a familiar voice came into his mind, which made him sober up instantly. He regained consciousness, avoided Gulu's dragon claws, and beat Gulu back with a punch. "Leng Yi, can you hear me? I'm Yanqing." No hash mistake. NOVEL*NET. Chapter 154. White Bad Saint. Yanqing, you are still alive. Leng Yi was shocked at first, then ecstatic. "Well, I was blessed by the goddess of luck and barely survived, but something went wrong. My soul cannot return to my body for the time being, so I'm sorry, I can't help you deal with the enemy this time. No need to apologize, leave it to me." After hearing Yanqing's voice, Leng Yi's spirit was lifted, and energy surged out of his body again. The cold air shot out, condensed into several ice knives, and slashed towards Gulu. Whoosh! The wound on Gulu's body was cut deeper by the ice knives again. It withstood Leng Yi's attack, rushed forward, and hit Leng Yi with its huge body. Bang! Leng Yi rolled out directly, and more than 10 bones inserted into his internal organs moved violently. The extremely strong pain hit Leng Yi's nerves. His body continued to spasm, and the left half of his body was numb and lifeless. Although the right half of his body could move, the muscles were also torn in many places. At this moment, Leng Yi was like a rag doll, with a nearly crippled body. He could only move under the control of a consciousness as strong as a mountain, but such a consciousness could not last long. Listen to me, Leng Yi, the enemy is a 5th class insect general, who has a much better grasp of the battle than us. Even with only a physical body, he can defeat you. Now I have a way to restore your previous combat power, but to break the star core, if they cannot win, everyone will die on this planet. No matter what the method is, he will accept it, even if he dies. It is no problem to just shatter the star core and waste his cultivation. Yanqing smiled. Leng Yi was as decisive as he thought. There was no need to explain. He could just pass on the inheritance. Let Leng Yi experience the mystery of the microcosm when he merges with the white bird. Now, there is a phantom of a white bird above my body. All you have to do is to put your mental power into this phantom of the white bird so that you can recover your fighting power, but don't let Gulu touch me before you, otherwise it will be over. Leng Yi, you must be careful. Your physical condition is extremely poor now. Don't fall down before you reach me, Yanqing said quickly. Don't worry, my will is not worse than yours. This little thing can be done easily, Leng Yi said coldly. He jumped up and dodged Gulu's attack. That's right, I believe you. Yanqing ended the spiritual communication. He looked straight at Leng Yi's figure on the mirror. He silently said in his heart, Leng Yi, please. Leng Yi glanced at the place where Yanqing was, and after talking to Yanqing, although he was prepared in his heart, he was still very surprised to see Yanqing, who was emitting a faint light, looking at the white bat in the bronze box on the side. It was incredible that Yanqing transformed into such a scene when he was almost dead. This is not an easy road to walk. His current speed is limited by his disabled body. He walked very slowly, and if Gulu discovered his intention, he would definitely be faster than him if he saw the abnormality of Yanqing. So, what should he do? Leng Yi pondered for a while, looked up at Gulu, and showed a serious expression. He thought of a way. Boom. Gulu's huge body hit him again, and the dragon head opened its mouth and bit towards Leng Yi with its fangs. Gulu's dragon claws were carrying a trace of lightning, and his golden eyes were full of killing intent. It had seen through Leng Yi's movements. As long as Leng Yi avoided his collision, the lightning accumulated in its claws for a long time would be released, covering the surrounding 3 meters, paralyzing Leng Yi's body, and then it could kill this ant with one blow and solve this farce. However, bang! Leng Yi immediately flew out horizontally, and his body was almost broken in two. How could it be? Gulu was shocked. Leng Yi didn't dodge, and was hit head on by him. This was courting death. No, Gulu suddenly remembered that Leng Yi had made a strange posture just now, with his body tilted to form an angle, as if he took the initiative to bear it, relying on his strength. He looked in the direction of Leng Yi, his eyes suddenly fixed. The dead Yanqing was emitting a faint light, with a white bird phantom hovering, and a bronze box with a white bat pattern engraved on the box, which made Gulu feel very bad. Leng Yi must be stopped. Gulu ran with all his strength, dragging his 2 wings, but his speed could not catch up, and he could only watch Leng Yi, who was knocked away, fall precisely next to Yanqing. Leng Yi pulled the corner of his mouth slightly. This method is very skillful and difficult to control, but fortunately, he succeeded. Looking at the cold white bird phantom, for some reason, a sense of intimacy emerged in his heart, as if he had a deep connection with this white bird. A long time ago, when he was still a child, he had a dream that he was wearing a suit of armor shining with diamonds, and waving out cold air that could freeze a starfield. Yanqing, what method are you talking about? I'm really looking forward to it. Leng Yi muttered, and stretched out one hand to the white bird phantom, touching the white light. Boom. The light was bright, and a chill from nowhere spread at the bottom of the pit. Layers of ice crystals condensed and covered Leng Yi and Yanqing's bodies, forming a thick ice wall. Sizzle. Gulu threw the electric light on his claws and hit the ice wall. The arc crackled, but the ice wall did not break, and there was not even a scratch. Gulu looked at the ice wall, his face full of haze. The human touched the phantom of the bird, and such a change occurred. There must be something wrong. His heart was throbbing, and he had a premonition that after Leng Yi came out, he would most likely die. It seems that I must use the forbidden technique to restore my cultivation. Even if I have to fall below the level of insect generals, I have to kill this human. Gulu thought. At this moment, the shadow of the white bat was merging into Leng Yi's body bit by bit. His eyes slowly closed, and when he opened them again, he found himself in a lifeless world of ice and snow. In this world, there was nothing but eternal loneliness and desolation. Leng Yi reached out his hand and caught a snowflake. He felt a familiar chill. This is my own coldness. Leng Yi murmured. Sickle. Suddenly, the clear chirping of a bird came from the sky. Leng Yi looked up and saw a white bat circling, flapping its wings, and setting off a blizzard that swept across the world. Countless cold air shot out again. Leng Yi felt that his thoughts seemed to be frozen, and time seemed to be still, stagnant. Where exactly is this place? Leng Yi wondered. This is your sea of consciousness. A loud voice came, shocking Leng Yi. His sea of consciousness had actually become like this. Could this be the change caused by the shadow of the white bird? But whose voice was this? Leng Yi couldn't help but yelled, "Who is it? Come out. I'm the system in Yanqing's body. You can treat me as a spiritual body. I'm entrusted by Yanqing to let you accept the inheritance of the white bird constellation and become a saint sire." The ethereal voice explained. The inheritance of the white bird constellation? Is this the method Yanqing mentioned? Yes. Leng Yi, let me ask you again. Do you accept the inheritance? If you accept the inheritance will begin immediately. Of course. Leng Yi nodded. This is a method that can solve the enemy, so he must accept it. Okay, then the inheritance begins. As soon as the system's voice fell, a huge amount of information flowed into Leng Yi's mind. Crack. Just as Yanqing said, his star core suddenly shattered at this time, but Leng Yi at this time had no time to care about the star core. His head was filled with all kinds of mysterious things. It was another cultivation system that he had never seen before, and he was deeply immersed in it. Microcosmos. Saint Sire. Avius constellation. Leng Yi felt as if he had turned into an elegant white bird, flying with a clear voice, wrapped in an extremely cold air that was enough to stop the movement of atoms. No, that was not cold air, but freezing air. The freezing air of Avius constellation. Diamond Stardust Fist, Aurora Lightning Shock, Ice Ring, Forgiveness of the Dawn Goddess, Ice Coffin. The mysteries of Avius constellation were quickly digested by Leng Yi. He was the most suitable person for Avius constellation. Compared with Yanqing, he understood these mysteries dozens of times faster. The broken star core slowly melted, and a weak microcosm was born. It absorbed the power of the star core, and continued to grow. In a few breaths, it reached the sixth sense, and it was still improving, until it reached the middle stage of the sixth sense. The cultivation of the third level of the transcendent realm also skyrocketed at this moment, breaking through to the fourth level of perfection in an instant, and only one step away from polishing to reach the fifth level. The injuries on the body recovered rapidly, and healed in a blink of an eye. Everything was developing in the best direction that Yanqing had imagined. Saint Sire of the White Bird? Interesting name, I like it very much. After digesting everything, Leng Yi's consciousness returned to his body. He opened a pair of blue eyes, and the ice wall that froze him shattered in an instant, revealing his figure in front of Gulu. Chapter 155 The possibility of building a holy land. This human's injury has actually healed. This is impossible. Gulu stepped back in shock and shouted. This was completely beyond common sense. Even if a saint came, he would not be able to save the dying Leng Yi in a short time. You have to know that it only took 3 minutes from Leng Yi being frozen, the ice wall solidified, to the ice wall breaking. Such a change in a few minutes was simply a myth. Leng Yi's momentum continued to rise, and the sound of the gushing energy was like a tsunami, and the sound of the waves echoed at the bottom of the pit. Dang. The bronze holy cloth box suddenly burst into a dazzling light and opened automatically. The white bird cloth appeared from it, shining with a diamond-like brilliance, which was almost exactly the same as what Leng Yi saw in his dream when he was a child. Is it you I saw when I was a child? I will treat you well. Leng Yi stared at the white bird cloth and said softly. He could feel that the soul of this holy cloth was cheering and resonating with his spirit, eager to fight with him. Clang, clang, clang. The holy garment turned into a stream of light, decomposed into various parts in the air, and was draped on Leng Yi. The gorgeous holy garment was coated with a layer of light, shining like the stars in the sky, and as beautiful and white as snowflakes. After Leng Yi put on the holy garment, he felt that his microcosm was rapidly improving, becoming deeper, and his body was much lighter. He punched out, breaking the sound barrier, and reaching 5 times the speed of sound. When he just broke through the ice wall, he felt that Gulu's breath suddenly became very powerful. It was not until now that Leng Yi was proficient in the microcosm. He barely had the momentum to match Gulu. Aurora lightning shock. Leng Yi crossed his hands, sprayed with freezing air, and a huge tornado appeared with ice crystals. Leng Yi took the lead and wanted to take the initiative. Don't think that you can kill me just because you have become stronger. And sustenance. My cultivation has recovered 1/3, which is more than enough to kill you. Gulu came back to his senses from the shock, shouting loudly, boom. Gulu's momentum also rose, as deep as the sea, and his murderous intent soared into the sky. Some shallow wounds slowly healed, but some deep wounds, as well as the 2 pairs of wings, they could not be restored. Gulu simply tore off his wings, to seal the deeper wounds, to avoid becoming a weakness. Burn, my little universe. Leng Yi saw how powerful Gulu was, and decisively burned his own little universe to gain stronger combat power. Extremely cold air came out of his body, and his 4th level perfect cultivation was improved again, reaching the limit of the 5th level. Bang, bang, bang. The two had a big collision, fighting thousands of times in an instant. Under the little universe of the 6th sense, Leng Yi's combat awareness has been raised to a height that ordinary people can hardly reach, and can already be compared with the 5th level insect General Gulu. He is indeed the true successor of the white bird. Before inheriting the white bird heritage, he was already very good at using cold energy. Now that he has received the inheritance, he can exert the maximum power of various white bird mysteries. According to the level system of this era, he has at least the strength of the 3rd level of the immortal realm. System, can Leng Yi win in this way? Yanqing asked worriedly. Although the mirror showed that Leng Yi and Gulu were evenly matched, Yanqing was afraid that Leng Yi's small universe would not burn, and he would lose to Gulu. Yes, according to the system's calculation, the host's friend will probably solve the enemy in more than an hour. Huh, that's good. Yanqing exhaled and felt relieved. As long as Gulu could be killed, he and Leng Yi could protect everyone. By the way, system, I have something to ask you. After Yanqing was relieved, he suddenly remembered something. Host, is there anything you want to ask? The system said. Leng Yi can inherit the inheritance of the white bird constellation. So can someone inherit the inheritance of other constellations? Yes, as long as you find the right person, you can inherit the inheritance of the constellation. This is the case for all 88 constellations. The system said frankly. In this case, wouldn't it be possible to form a holy domain? Yanqing said excitedly. Well, if the host can find people suitable for each constellation, accept the inheritance, and become a saint seer, then a holy domain can be formed. And this is what the system hopes for. The system said patiently, as if the system was particularly serious when it came to this aspect. System, what is your purpose? Yanqing couldn't help asking. Although he had asked this question many times, he knew that the system would probably not give an answer. Sorry, this involves the existence of the system itself, and it cannot be answered. Sure enough, it's still the same answer. Yanqing sighed. However, what I can tell the host is that the main task of the system is about to start. As long as the host completes the main task, everything in the system will be open to the host. The system changed the subject and said to Yanqing, what mission? Yanqing was excited. The system was finally going to issue a mission, and it was a mission related to the system itself. This was great. The puzzle was finally solved. Yanqing was very curious about the origin of the system that this traverser brought with him. Establish a sanctuary, create 12 gold saints, and find all the saints. The system's voice was very clean, but the content of the words instantly cooled Yanqing's interest. Is it possible to complete this main mission? I have been in the galaxy for more than 10 years, from Taoan Star to Cheyenne-Fu Star, and then to the Swan Star region. After such a long time, I only found Lengyi alone. There are still 87 people. And let's not talk about anything else. Just say that the 12 gold saints can wear gold saints. They are at least the 7th sense, and they are strong people above the saint level. This kind of thing is extremely difficult, and cannot be completed at all. Yanqing murmured. This main task has no time limit. As long as the host is alive, this task will continue. There is no need to rush. People who are suitable for the constellation are scattered in various starfields of the galaxy. They are all gifted geniuses. Perhaps during this trip to Earth, the host will be able to find a few people who are suitable for the constellation. The system will continue to look forward to the host's success. I will find them slowly. Don't have too much hope. After all, this is more difficult than killing the Zerg Overlord. Yanqing said angrily. Boom. Just after Yanqing finished talking with the system, Lengyi and Gulu's battle also entered a white-hot stage. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156, Battle of Ice, Part 1. Freeze Fist, Condensed Sword. Lengyi was surrounded by freezing air, and he swung his fist quickly. 500 ice crystal swords took shape in an instant, emitting cold light, as hard as gold and iron, forming a vertical sword formation, slashing towards Gulu. This article was first published by Go Back. Gulu shouted, and the 500 ice crystal swords immediately reversed and stabbed towards Lengyi. After Gulu recovered part of his cultivation through the forbidden technique, he could use the power of the law at will to relieve his frustration. However, the cost of using the forbidden technique is very high. In 3 hours, he will fall from the realm of the 5th class insect general to the level of an elite insect soldier. It can be said that Gulu hated Yanqing and Lengyi to the extreme. After Yanqing died, Gulu transferred all his hatred to Lengyi. He wanted to extract the soul of this human who forced him to use the forbidden technique and tortured him countless times. Fortunately, this wish will be realized soon. Clang, clang, clang. Lengyi's eyes narrowed. Just as he expected, 500 ice swords flew back, and there was a law attached to them, which increased the speed and power of the ice swords. Gulu's words contained an irresistible will, which could control everything in the world, and possessed a mysterious and vast power. In ancient times, it was a Taoist saying that what you say is what you do. This must be the law that Gulu had comprehended. It was really powerful. The law of what you say is what you do was absolutely superior to most laws. It should be at the same level as Wu Liang's exchange law, which was a special law. If Gulu still maintained his full strength at this time, Lengyi would not be able to take on these ice swords. However, since Gulu was seriously injured, and his cultivation had only recovered 1/3, there were many ways to deal with it. Star ice, condensate. Lengyi stretched out a hand and pressed forward. The frost spread and condensed, and in a blink of an eye, a solid ice wall was formed. The ice sword array hit the ice wall, shattered one after another, and turned into frost again. Boom. There was a flash of lightning in front of Gulu, which turned into a spear wrapped in lightning. There were traces of lightning flowing, exuding a terrifying aura. Lengyi's face was stern. In addition to Gulu's words, he also comprehended the law of thunder and lightning. The talent of the two-legged flying dragon was really terrible. Go. Gulu shouted, and the lightning spear carried a mighty force. Thunder rolled, and under the blessing of the words and will, it was like a thunder punishment from heaven, like a swimming silver dragon, piercing through the void. Lengyi was solemn. This spear directly locked him, and he couldn't dodge at all, so he could only take it hard. This is the disadvantage of not touching the power of the law and being in the transcendent realm. In battle, even if it is a demon in the transcendent realm, if it can't break the immortal's moves, it will often be in a passive position. When Yanqing fought with Wei Gong in the past, that was the case. Wei Gong's knife intent and law made Yanqing unable to move at that time, so he could only take it hard. Leng Yi's sixth sense captured the trajectory of the spear. I saw a series of after images flashing by, and the lightning spear was already close. Leng Yi's heart moved. He subconsciously raised his arm and held it horizontally in front of him. Gulu showed a mocking look. This spear condensed all his lightning laws. Even a third level human immortal would be seriously injured or even killed by this blow. Bang! The vast energy fluctuations burst out with a bang, and the bright light turned the dark bottom of the pit into a white expanse. The huge impact sounded and echoed, and the soil on the pit wall fell, and the earth was shaking. This human should not be able to stand up. Gulu grinned. He didn't believe that Leng Yi could stand up after taking this blow head on. However, after the light dissipated, Leng Yi's figure was revealed from it, and his whole body was intact. This shot did not cause any harm to him. Impossible. This is impossible. Gulu's expression froze. He looked at Leng Yi, whose aura was at its peak, in disbelief. Protection from the holy garment. Leng Yi muttered to himself. He stared at the shield on his arm. Surprise flashed in his eyes. Such a terrible shot could be blocked, and there was not a scratch on the shield. The strength of the holy garment was beyond his expectation. In this way, his chances of winning were even greater. There was no reason for him to lose to Gulu. Ice ring. Leng Yi pointed out with one finger, and dozens of ice crystal rings formed a spiral to block Gulu's movements. Break it for me, Gulu said with anger rising. All the ice crystal rings immediately shattered and turned into debris. Although his chest was filled with anger, Gulu had begun to calm down. This was not a solution. Although he had recovered a little, he was still injured. A long battle would not be good for him. He had to solve it as soon as possible and kill him with one blow. Gulu, who had made up his mind, uttered a word. This word condensed all the power of Gulu's law. The power was terrible to the extreme, as if the heaven and earth were shaking with the pronunciation of this word. Trapped? It was just a single word, but the power of the law was added to this single word, and the effect was strengthened to the maximum extent. Leng Yi was about to rush forward to kill Gulu, but he found that his body was bound by an invisible force and could not move even a millimeter. Not good. Leng Yi struggled violently, his whole body glowing, and his microcosm burst to the limit, but even if he used all his strength, Leng Yi could not break free from the shackles of this word. Human, stop struggling. Without the strength of a 5th level immortal, you can't break free. Gulu laughed wildly and walked to Leng Yi. A terrifying lightning beam condensed in his mouth, and the electric light flashed. Leng Yi may have really given up. At this critical moment, he stopped struggling, lowered his head, and his expression was buried in the shadows, as if he had accepted his fate. Gulu was very happy at this moment. He could finally kill this ant who dared to offend the majesty of the dragon. But he didn't notice, or didn't care, that the cold air around Leng Yi was getting more and more, almost overwhelming, and the temperature was getting lower, reaching more than 100 degrees below zero, and it was still dropping, and the air in this area became solid. Go to hell. Gulu spit out a thick lightning column, and the current of up to tens of millions of volts crackled, which was powerful enough to electrocute a 3rd level immortal into charcoal. Boom. The lightning column was like a long rainbow, piercing through the place where Leng Yi was, and blasted hundreds of meters into the ground, which was enough to show the terrible power of this attack. Ha ha ha. Gulu laughed wildly, and suddenly there were pieces of ice crystals condensing on his body, instantly condensing from his claws to his chest, which made him stunned for a moment. This chill came from behind him. Gulu turned around quickly and saw a figure, and his expression was immediately stunned. How is this possible? How can you break free? This is absolutely impossible. Gulu couldn't help but shout, his emotions out of control. Leng Yi, who was supposed to be dead, was now behind him, looking at him coldly, keeping his punching posture. This is the mystery of the Battle of Ice. A mere bug cannot understand it. Next, let me send you on your way, Leng Yi said calmly. To be continued. P.S. Sorry, I'm stuck. After writing a chapter, I was not satisfied, so I rewrote it. I've been busy until now and finally finished a chapter. Tomorrow is Saturday. I will start to make up for the chapters I owed on Saturday, and of course there is still today's chapter. Chapter 157, Battle of Ice, Part 2. Leng Yi has mastered the ice fighting technique so quickly. He is indeed very suitable for aviary. Yanqing sighed as he looked at the battle scene on the mirror. Ice fighting technique is a special fighting technique used by aviary, Aquarius and other saints who use freezing air. Unlike ordinary saints who rely on the small universe in their bodies to directly crush atoms, ice fighting technique not only crushes atoms, but also prevents, delays, or even stops the movement of atoms. The intensity of atomic movement is determined by temperature. The lower the temperature, the lower the intensity of atomic movement. When it reaches absolute zero, the movement of atoms will stop. Gulu's words and deeds are ultimately still using Yuan Gang to attack, but it is just a manifestation of Yuan Gang. Because of the law, Leng Yi cannot detect or capture it. But in fact, this invisible force is not essentially different from flames, ice crystals, lightning and other obvious visible manifestations. In terms of level, it is still composed of atoms. Leng Yi released a large amount of frozen air and ice crystals, rapidly lowering the temperature. In this way, the intensity of atomic movement tended to be flat, and the power of the word would be greatly weakened. Especially around Leng Yi, the temperature was as low as nearly 200 degrees. The invisible force, that originally required a 5th level immortal to break free now only required a 3rd level immortal to break free. Yanqing was still sweating for Leng Yi in life and death danger, but he didn't expect Leng Yi to use the ice fighting method and immediately turn the tables, avoiding Gulu's attack, and turning the passive into active. Now Gulu has exhausted all his Yuan Gang and the power of the law, while Leng Yi still maintains his peak combat power. Victory is a foregone conclusion, and Yanqing is relieved. Aurora lightning shock. Leng Yi continued to punch, not giving Gulu a chance to recover. Crack. Crack. The ice crystals continued to spread, condensed from the chest to the neck. After the Yuan Gang was exhausted, his body was unable to move at this time. The bone-chilling cold permeated Gulu's body and spirit from the inside out. I won't accept this, Gulu roared. If he hadn't crashed into Lang Geostar from outer space and was too seriously injured to even use his divine form, how could he, as a 5th class insect general, die in the hands of an ant? Leng Yi didn't waste time talking to Gulu. The frost accumulated to the peak, and his body was like a white bird flying. He could feel the small universe scattered throughout his body with his movements, and the frost burst out. This move in Leng Yi's hands was completely different from the power in Yanqing's hands. Whether it was the temperature of the frost or the condensation and brilliance of the ice crystals, they were far superior to Yanqing. Boom. My brother will avenge me. Humans, wait for me. After Gulu shouted the last sentence hoarsely, the ice crystals completely covered his body. It turned it into a huge ice sculpture without life. Freeze with a snap of the fingers. Leng Yi stretched out his fingers, and several icicles popped out, smashing the ice sculpture into pieces, leaving no further trouble. Finally solved. Looking at the flying ice chips, Leng Yi and Yanqing said this at the same time, and a strong sense of fatigue surged into their hearts. The crisis of Lang Geostar was finally solved after their desperate fight. However, the price of victory was very heavy. Quasi-Saint Wu Liang died. Guzang only had one breath left, and Yanqing died directly. The soul cannot return to the body. Leng Yi walked to Yanqing's body and stretched out his hand. Touching Yanqing's skin, it was cold to the touch. He couldn't help, but frowned and said, "Yanqing, didn't you say you survived? How come your body has no vitality at all? This is clearly dead." Haha, yes, it is indeed dead. Yanqing's hearty laughter rang in Leng Yi's heart. Hey, you're dead. How can you still laugh? Leng Yi's eyes were red, and he was filled with sadness. He said angrily, "Tell me, if you have any last words, I will pass them on to Qin Ziyang, Xiao Bei and the others." Leng Yi, although I'm dead, I can be resurrected, so you don't have to be so sad. Can be resurrected. Leng Yi was stunned. It's hard to explain the specific reason, but it takes a longer time to resurrect, about a month. After all, the body is too badly damaged. Yanqing said easily. Leng Yi, why are you suddenly silent? Yanqing asked strangely. Nothing. I just felt stupid just now. We should go back, Leng Yi said expressionlessly. He waved his hand and sprinkled a stream of cold air, freezing Yanqing's body and placing it in an ice coffin. Speaking of Leng Yi, how does it feel to be a Saint Seer? Yanqing asked curiously. For Leng Yi, the second Saint Seer, Yanqing wanted to know his thoughts. No feeling, the same as before. Leng Yi stood up, and the ice coffin also floated up. Then he said, you should think about how to explain to Qin Ziyang, after returning to the station. Oh no. If you don't tell me, I will forget this terrible thing. In the sea of consciousness, Yanqing wrinkled his face into a bitter gourd. He had a headache. Qin Ziyang would definitely be very sad to see him like this. He didn't want to make the gentle Qin Ziyang sad. Just as Yanqing racked his brains to think of how to comfort Qin Ziyang, Leng Yi took the ice coffin and soared into the sky, leaving the dark bottom of the pit and returning to the bright land. He returned to Shaoyang Mountain, took the ice that sealed Guzan with him, and flew to the station. Leng Yi felt the endless and abundant small universe in his body, and his mind was full of thoughts. Not that he didn't feel anything about what Yanqing said. He looked at the two friends in the two ice coffins, looked at the station that had appeared in front of him, and felt the breath of Chenzi, Guqing and other Ice Palace warriors, and his face couldn't help showing a soft look. He murmured in his heart, sorry, master, what you said is absolutely cold. I give up. Swish. Lan, who was in seclusion far away on Xiangsuan Star, suddenly had a thought, opened his eyes, two rays of divine light burst out, and revealed a faint smile. Leng Yi, you finally saw through your true heart. The road cannot be given by others, even by me, your master. Only the road you choose according to your true heart is the most suitable for you. It was right to let you stay with Yanqing. Although there are unpredictable dangers, compared with the final gains, it is nothing at all. You did a good job. Next, we have to go to Langjio Star. The two deceived God Clan God Marshals should have woken up and found the right direction. This time, I owe Yanqing a favor, and I can repay it by solving this matter. With me, Lan. Here, no one can take that God Clan woman away by force. Crash. Lan stood up from the ice bed, took a step forward, and it was a million miles. His figure instantly disappeared from Xiangsuan Star, and rushed to Langjio Star. Chapter 158 The War Ends. Boom. At the border of the Swan Star region, two Ice Palace Saints were standing in the void, looking grim. Around them, there were dense insect corpses and countless fragments of the mother nest. The old man was silent for a while, and sighed. I failed the opportunity that Wu Xiaozi risked his life for, and still let Gil, the insect, escape. It's a pity that junior brother Lan is too far away from here, otherwise the three of us would definitely keep Gil together. The middle-aged man in white robes waved his sleeves, crushing all the insect corpses and mother nest fragments into dust, erasing the traces of the battle. He shook his head and said, although Gil was not killed, his Zerg army has been destroyed. Even if Gil can go back alive, he will definitely be severely punished by the Zerg King's court. After this battle, the Swan Star region will also be valued by the Galaxy Alliance, and become a line of defense, gradually prospering. The results of this battle are enough to affect the prosperity of the entire Swan Star region. If Wu Xiaozi is still alive, he will definitely be very satisfied. This time we were able to win this battle, mainly because of the contribution of Wookid. How about adding another tablet to the Ice Palace's Tower of Sages? The old man asked. Of course. The middle-aged man in white robe nodded. The old man stretched out his hand, and an old book with gold edges appeared out of thin air. The breath of vicissitudes of life emanated from it. He turned to a blank page, and his fingers flashed with light. After thinking for a while, he wrote a line of words. In the 8th month of the 5000th year of the galaxy calendar, Wu Liang, a quasi-saint of the human race, spent 3 years, and at the cost of his own death, to explore the coordinates of the 3rd class Zerg Legion. The second saint of the Ice Palace used the coordinates to find the location, and destroyed the 3rd class Legion. This battle laid the foundation for the prosperity of the Swan Star domain. Wu Liang should be the first to be recommended. After approval, Wu Liang can enter the Ice Palace's Tower of Sages, and his tablets will be worshipped, and his merits will be immortal. In the depths of the cold and dark space, inside a cluster of meteorites, A two-legged flying dragon with broken wings was resting. Its scales were broken in many places, especially there was a big hole in its chest, and the heart inside had turned into a pile of rotten meat. This flying dragon was Gil, who had escaped. Except for him, all the 8 million insect soldiers in the mother nest died, and none of them survived. Wu Liang, Saint of the Ice Palace. This time the army was destroyed, and my brother was killed. One day, I, Gil, will repay him with the blood of hundreds of millions of human beings. Gil gritted his teeth and repaired his injuries. Although he said such harsh words, he knew very well that he would not only be judged in the royal court of the flying dragon after this disastrous defeat, but also in front of the third prince. The group of people who used to be jealous of him would definitely not miss the opportunity to take advantage of his misfortune. It is estimated that it will be difficult to command the army again and attack the human defense line. Where you fail, you must get up from there. If you can get out of this disastrous defeat, the bottleneck of the realm of the second level insect commander may be broken. In this way, there will be a chance to turn over in the future. Gil whispered with deep eyes. Xianja, how many times have I said that I can still be resurrected? Don't cry. Yanqing was so anxious in his sea of consciousness that he jumped up and down, and a helpless voice sounded in Qin Xiang's heart. What if he can be resurrected? He never cherishes himself. This makes me sad. Qin Xiang put her head on Yanqing's chest and shed tears silently. That strong and powerful heart had stopped beating, indicating the fact that Yanqing was dead. Sister Qin Xiang, don't be sad. Brother Yan will be alive in a month. When Xiaobei comforted Qin Xiang like a little adult. During this period of time, when Xiaobei's ki has undergone tremendous changes, he has vaguely touched the threshold of the third level of innateness. It only takes a dozen days to make a breakthrough. This is much stronger than Yanqing back then. Qin Xiang had tears on her face and her eyes were swollen like peaches. She bit her lip and said, Yanqing, what was the reason that it took you so long to come back to life? Because of death, the body has a repulsiveness to the soul. The soul cannot move in all at once and needs to merge slowly. In addition, the body is severely damaged. Although the surface has been healed by Leng Yi's microcosm, the bones inside are shattered. This still requires a certain amount of time to heal. Yanqing said frankly that he also wanted to recover quickly. After all, there was still more than a month before the match on Earth. If a month was spent on resurrection, it would be difficult to break through to the level of immortals when the match came. In this case, the possibility of winning is almost zero. Just when Yanqing was distressed, a ball of soft light suddenly lit up and enveloped him. This light was very warm. Even if he was in the sea of consciousness, the light could still fall into the sky above the Holy Land, illuminating the Holy Land with a golden glow. Xianja, you. Yanqing saw from the mirror that Qin Xiang used the healing technique, and light bloomed between his hands. My healing technique should be useful. Even if it can't solve the repulsion between the body and soul, it can repair your injuries. I really want you to wake up soon. Two blushes appeared on Qin Xiang's face, and she said seriously, don't do this. It will be very tiring. Yanqing dissuaded. It doesn't matter. This is my own will. No matter how you persuade me, I will not give up. Qin Xiang said stubbornly. The light between his hands shone even brighter. Beams of light entered Yanqing's body, healing his damaged body, regenerating cells, repairing meridians, and regrowing bones. After about 10 minutes, all of Yanqing's injuries were healed. Boom, boom, boom. The heart began to beat, although it was very weak, but Qin Xiang heard it clearly, and a look of joy appeared on her face. Her healing technique was very useful. Yanqing was also very surprised. In the sea of consciousness, more and more light was sprinkled, and he could feel that his soul seemed to be purer and clearer. Host, this woman's microcosm is indeed omnipotent, and her ejection is being quickly resolved. The system sighed. Facing this situation, it was also quite shocked. It couldn't help but be humorous for a while, and use the word universal. It must be said that the system has become much more humane. Exclusionary solution? In this way, how long will it take me to resurrect? Yanqing was stunned and said, according to this level of energy input, it will take about 3 hours. The system calculated. 3 hours. Yanqing was shocked, and then ecstatic. The resurrection time of 1 month was compressed into 3 hours. There was nothing better than this. With an extra month, he would have more than 90% chance of entering the fairyland. But Xianja, this is too tiring. Yanqing looked at Qin Xiang, who was trying her best, his face full of apology. Qin Xiang had helped him many times and even saved his life. He really had no way to repay her. Yanqing secretly made up his mind that no matter who wanted to hurt Qin Xiang, they had to step over his body. He wanted to protect this gentle and kind woman. Host, the system has just analyzed the microcosm of this woman. I have to say that her microcosm is very wonderful, and it is very similar to Athena's microcosm. Athena! Yanqing exclaimed. P.S. There are 2 more chapters, but they have to be written until tomorrow morning. 12 said that they need to make up for the lack of chapters. Chapter 159 Resurrection. System, are you saying that Xianja and Athena have similar microcosms? Yanqing asked again. His heart was greatly shocked. In the past, after feeling Qin Xiang's microcosm and seeing Qin Xiang's hair change from black to purple, he had an absurd guess that Qin Xiang was Athena. Although Yanqing tried his best to deny this guess in his heart every time, his microcosm had a violent reaction to Qin Xiang at many special times. Even the system itself helped Yanqing's eyes to see through the illusion and see Qin Xiang's true hair color. If yes, host, her microcosm is broad and profound, just as vast as the real universe. The microcosm she has revealed now is just a trace of the huge microcosm dormant in her body. If all her microcosms are out of control and explode, the entire Swan Star region and even the surrounding star regions will be buried with it. Hiss. Yanqing took a breath of cold air. Qin Xiang's microcosm was so powerful that it could destroy the star region. Even if it was a real god, his strength was only so. However, it can only be said to be similar, because the system has not analyzed whether her microcosm is aggressive, and Athena, as the goddess of war and wisdom, is also the best in combat among the gods. This is the biggest difference between her and Athena. No combat power. Yanqing pondered, as if it was true. Since he met Qin Xiang, he has only experienced infinite tenderness and light from Qin Xiang's microcosm. Forget it, there is no need to think so much. Yanqing threw away the thoughts in his mind. Qin Xiang is Qin Xiang. She is herself, not Athena. What he wants to protect is just a girl named Qin Xiang, and everything else is unimportant. Host, the rejection of your body has been resolved, and you can enter the body now. The voice of the system suddenly sounded in Yanqing's ears. Xianja. Yanqing, in the soul state, stared at Qin Xiang, who was using all her strength to use a healing technique on the mirror. He was silent for a while, and finally sighed. Let everything go with the flow. What is supposed to happen will always happen, and no one can avoid it. You have to face it head on. Bo. Yanqing's figure slowly dissipated. It began to enter the body. Because there was no rejection and the body repair was completed, the process of entering the body was very smooth. The soul gradually merged with the body and became one. The blush on Qin Xiang's face faded. Her face was a little pale, her lips were dry, and she was very tired after 3 hours of energy input. Qin Xiang shook her head. A trace of persistence flashed in her eyes when she saw Leng Yi bringing Yanqing's body back. Her heart seemed to be split in half at once. She couldn't accept this result and fainted directly, although she later learned that Yanqing was not dead. But looking at Yanqing's cold body, she felt distressed. At the same time, there was a huge panic in her heart. She was afraid that one day, Yanqing would really die. She was afraid that she would not be able to hold Yanqing's hand and could not stay by his side. So she wanted Yanqing to wake up as soon as possible, wanted to see Yanqing alive as soon as possible, and wanted to hear Yanqing say to her with a smile, after defeating the enemy like in the past. Plop. Qin Xiang's eyes went dark. She couldn't hold on any longer. She was unstable and fell forward. However, a pair of strong hands caught her steadily at this time. The wind outside the window suddenly stopped. The room was quiet. When Xiaobei suddenly opened his eyes wide, just as he was about to open his mouth to speak, he quickly covered his mouth. He followed his grandfather's instructions and quietly stepped back. Tick-tock. Tick-tock. Drops of tears rolled down like crystal pearls and fell on the ground. Yanqing hugged Qin Xiang and wiped the tears from her face with one hand. He said to Qin Ziyang in a slightly hoarse voice, and in an extremely gentle tone, "I'm back." Qin Ziyang raised her head and cried like a little cat, but she smiled while crying. She smiled very satisfied. She whispered softly, "Welcome back. Don't let me wait so hard next time." "Well, I won't do that next time." Yanqing nodded seriously. "Xianja, take a nap." "No, I want to see you," Qin Ziyang said stubbornly, trying to stay energetic. "Go to sleep, don't worry, I will always be with you and stay by your side. When you wake up, the first thing you see will be my face." "Really? Really? That's good." Qin Ziyang's eyes slowly closed, and she fell asleep peacefully, with a sweet smile on her face. Yanqing stood up, hugged Qin Ziyang with his arms, put her on the bed, gently covered her with a quilt, and tucked her in. He sat quietly by the side, watching Qin Ziyang's sleeping face. The people at the garrison were very tactful, and didn't disturb her. Time passed by little, and the sunlight cast Yanqing's shadow on the ground, from long to short, and then from short to long. A day and a night passed, and Yanqing was still sitting here. After Qin Ziyang woke up, she saw Yanqing sitting by the bed at first sight. Although she knew that this would definitely be the case, she still felt warm and sweet in her heart. "Yanqing, it's great to see you at first sight." Qin Ziyang sat up. Her purple hair fell down softly, with a lazy beauty. In the outer space of Langjio Star, two streams of light were flying rapidly. They were Whis and Maya from the God clan, who deceived us and made us waste so much time on Xiangsu Star. If I find out, I will definitely not let him off. Maya's cold face revealed murderous intent, and said, "It was probably done by the saints of the Ice Palace. They have the insight for lies that can deceive the secrets of heaven." Whis thought for a while and said, "As for the intention of doing this, it is not clear, but the only thing that can be confirmed is that we must keep a low profile in the human starfield. According to the Covenant, except during wartime, the high-level God clan cannot enter the human starfield. If the saints of the Ice Palace reported to the Alliance, it will be very troublesome for the Lord God King. Maya, don't do irrational things." Whis warned Maya, "I know my limits. If Her Highness is safe and sound, I will restrain myself. If Her Highness has had a bad life in the past 18 years, I will make the people of the Ice Palace pay the price." Maya said calmly. 18 years have passed in a flash. After searching dozens of starfields, I finally found Her Highness. This time, no matter what, I must bring Her Highness back to the divine realm. We sighed. The two quickly passed through the thick atmosphere of Dragonhorn Star and flew towards the Ice Palace station. Chapter 160, The Princess of the Gods. PS. This is a long chapter of 3,500 words, so I'm late. Sorry. Greetings to Her Royal Highness the Princess. When Whis and Maya descended from the sky, knelt on one knee, and addressed Qin Ziyang as Her Royal Highness the Princess, everyone who saw this scene was immediately stunned and showed a look of surprise. Miss Qin Ziyang is a princess. This thought was turning in their minds. Yanqing, Leng Yi, and Guzang were even more shocked. They could clearly feel that the aura of these two people who suddenly appeared was as powerful as gods and demons, far beyond the quasi-saints, which means that these two people are at least saints. Two saints. They actually kneeled down to Xianja. What's going on? And the title of Her Royal Highness the Princess, Yanqing murmured. Facing such an emergency, he really couldn't understand it. Hurry up. Qin Ziyang was obviously a little at a loss. He hurried forward and wanted to help Whis and Maya up, but the two were still kneeling and didn't get up at all. "I'm sorry, I'm not the princess you're looking for. You've got the wrong person." "We didn't get the wrong person. You're the princess we've been looking for 18 years. Your purple hair is proof of that. It's the hair color of the Divine Emperor." The tall Whis raised his head and said to Qin Ziyang, "Divine Emperor." Leng Yi was stunned for a long time after hearing these two words. Then he seemed to remember something. His face changed, and he looked at Qin Ziyang with an incredible look. "But, I didn't have purple hair before. It's been less than a month since I turned purple," Qin Ziyang said hesitantly. She was a little confused. She did feel a very familiar aura from these two people. It was the same power as hers. "This is because the power in your body has awakened, so your hair has changed from black to purple." We can come here because we can detect your aura after you awakened. Whis explained. It's similar. It's too similar. Maya said excitedly. A look of reminiscence appeared on her cold face. She had met the Queen God once before. The girl in front of her looked almost exactly like Her Highness the Queen God. She must be Her Highness the Princess. There was no mistake. My lady princess, you can take a look at this. The space ring on Maya's finger flickered, and an electronic photo album appeared out of thin air. Maya unfolded the electronic photo album, and a clear photo of a person appeared in front of Qin Ziyang, which made Qin Ziyang feel like being struck by lightning. Her body trembled. What? Yanqing and others also exclaimed. The photo showed a woman with a peerless beauty. She looked so much like Qin Ziyang. They were simply carved from the same mold. If what they said is true, then the person in the photo, is it Ziyang's mother? Yanqing guessed. He felt that what the two people said was true. There was no need for the two powerful people who had reached the Saint realm to lie to Qin Ziyang. Qin Ziyang stood there in a daze. She looked at the beautiful woman smiling in the photo and had an urge to cry. The incomplete memory in her mind reappeared. Your Highness the Queen of Gods, Your Highness the Moon God King. You have sacrificed yourself and opened a path. Please leave with the princess quickly. Go back to the divine realm. My daughter Sasha, I'm sorry. It's all your fault. You were put in such danger as soon as you were born. In the future, no matter what kind of suffering you encounter, you must live strong. Qin Ziyang covered her head with her hands. Her expression was very painful. Your Highness. Maya hurriedly stood up and wanted to support Qin Ziyang. But Yanqing, who was right beside Qin Ziyang, took the lead and hugged Qin Ziyang. Just a human. Maya looked at Yanqing and was about to explode, but was stopped by Whis. Maya, the people here are all good friends of Your Highness the Princess. Do you want Your Highness the Princess to hate you? Whis said in a deep voice. I won't kill anyone here. I just want to teach him a lesson. The noble body of Your Highness the Princess cannot be touched by a mere human. Maya snorted. Ziyang, cheer up. Yanqing said anxiously, sending the small universe into Qin Ziyang's body. Leng Yi's eyes were calm. He and Guzan looked at each other, nodded in tacit understanding, and walked to Whis and Maya. Meet the two gods of the God clan. I wonder why the gods violated the covenant and came to our human starfield. Leng Yi and Guzan first bowed to Whis and Maya to express their respect for the high-level God clan, and then asked. Whis explored the realm of Leng Yi and Guzang, and his spirit was shocked. The man on the left burst out with cold air. He should be from the Ice Palace, and the man on the right moved in accordance with the rhythm, probably from the Music Palace. These two young people are extremely talented, and they are geniuses even in the God realm. Whis smiled and said, two friends, as you can see, we are looking for the princess of our God clan. The Protoss Princess Sasha was indeed missing after the battle 18 years ago. The Protoss mobilized the entire tribe to search for her for 3 years. I thought you Protoss had given up, but I didn't expect you to continue searching. Guzang said slowly. Although the search had to end due to various reasons, our God clan will not give up. The subordinates of the major God kings, a total of 100 God marshals, are still searching. The two of us are responsible for the Swan Star region, and other star regions are also in charge of other God marshals. Once Her Royal Highness shows signs of awakening, we can find Her Royal Highness as soon as possible. So what are you going to do after you find the princess? You probably won't let her live here like an ordinary human after you have finally found her. Leng Yi frowned and pointed out the key issue. Yes, we will take Her Royal Highness away from the Swan Star region and go to the God clan's God realm to live the noble life that a God clan princess should have. Maya said lightly. It is true. Leng Yi looked at Yanqing and Qin Ziyang with worry. This is troublesome. Qin Ziyang herself is definitely unwilling to leave. The consequence is that the two God marshals will forcibly take Qin Ziyang away, and Yanqing will come out to stop him desperately, even if it means sacrificing his own life. Leng Yi knows Yanqing, who is not complicated, too well, and he is sure that Yanqing will do this. Alas. Leng Yi sighed. As a good friend of Yanqing, he had to help Yanqing, even if it was meaningless and the result was already predetermined. He had to help and fight with the God Marshal. Gu Chang was also a smart man. As soon as he thought about it, he understood the situation that would follow. He couldn't help but smile bitterly, but he still nodded to Leng Yi, indicating that he would definitely stand on Yanqing's side and be the enemy of the two god marshals. He was saved by someone, and this favor must be repaid. I don't want to leave. I don't want to be a princess of the god clan. I just want to stay here and be with Yanqing. Qin Ziyang, who was in a state of confusion, heard Maya's words. She answered subconsciously. She didn't want to leave Yanqing. She just wanted to be an ordinary person. Wei's heart sank. The most difficult situation finally happened. Before he came, he was thinking, what if the princess had already gotten used to living as a human being, had someone she liked, and refused to leave with them? He thought about it for a long time. There was only one way, that was to take the princess away by force. But Wei hesitated again. Did he really want to cruelly deprive the princess of her happiness? But it was even more impossible not to take the princess with him. Her Royal Highness was the only offspring of the Emperor of God. Only Her Royal Highness could inherit the throne of the God clan and revitalize the God clan. Weiss, since you are hesitant and don't want to be a villain, then I will be the one. Maya said brazenly, with a burst of momentum on her body, and the Ice Palace warriors stationed at the point could not help but lie on the ground. They couldn't even stand up. Guzang and Leng Yi, although they could barely stand up, they could hardly move. The power of the saint was really unimaginable. They raised all their energy and were about to attack, but Wei suddenly appeared and pressed his hands on the two of them, making Leng Yi and Guzang unable to move at all. Oops, Leng Yi whispered in his heart. Now he and Guzang couldn't help Yanqing. Your Highness, I'm sorry, we must take you back to the God realm. This is a righteous cause. Maya said. I will never allow you to take Xianjia away. Yanqing endured the power of the saint, his body lying in front of Qin Ziyang, and said firmly, just you. Maya seemed to have heard the funniest joke and smiled. Phoenix wings soaring in the sky. Yanqing waved his fists at Maya. He knew the difference in strength between him and Maya. He also knew that he was trying to stop a chariot with his arms and would be crushed directly, but he just wanted to protect Qin Ziyang behind him. If Qin Ziyang didn't want to live that kind of life, he had to stop it. Too weak. Maya snapped her fingers, and the surging divine power surged out. Boom. The fire phoenix broke into pieces, and Yanqing fell down instantly, his two arms drooping weakly, as if he had been seriously injured. Compared with the immortal realm and the mortal realm, the dragon is like a giant dragon and an ant. No matter how strong the ant is, the dragon can crush it to death with just one finger. Yanqing. Qin Ziyang's consciousness recovered a little. She saw Yanqing lying on the ground with blood all over the ground, and she wanted to run over anxiously, but Maya moved and blocked her way. Princess, I'm sorry. Maya put her 5 fingers together and chopped Qin Ziyang's neck with a knife, causing Qin Ziyang to faint. Let me go, let me go. I don't want to go to the god's domain. Qin Ziyang struggled, but it was useless. Even with a huge microcosm, she was just an ordinary person. Let's go, Weiss. Let me be the villain, and things can be easily solved, Maya said with Qin Ziyang on her back. But is this okay? Weiss also sighed like Leng Yi. As long as I'm good to the gods, when the princess returns to the god's domain, she can do whatever she wants to me, Maya said quietly. Weiss looked at everyone here, bowed, and said, I'm really sorry, Her Royal Highness the princess must return to the god's domain to inherit the throne. We do not want to use tough measures. Goodbye. Maya just took a step, and suddenly a blue and white meteor fist light hit her from behind. Disperse. Maya spit out a word, and all the meteor fist lights disappeared instantly. She turned her head, and looked at Yanqing who stood up, and said coldly, are you still not giving up? My princess of the gods is not something that a small human, like you can climb up to. What princess of the gods? To me, she is just a woman named Xianjia. Apart from that, nothing else matters. Yanqing panted, and said with a fist stretched out. If you want to take Xianjia away, you have to step over my body first. Arrogant boy. Then I will kill you. Maya was enraged. She stretched out a hand, pointed it at Yanqing's heart, and a finger shot out. She wanted Yanqing's life, so that Her Royal Highness the princess would not have anything to worry about. Yanqing, hide. Leng Yi, all the warriors of Guzang shouted in their hearts, hoping that Yanqing could dodge the attack, but the Saint's attack had already locked Yanqing, and Yanqing could not move at all. Is it going to end like this? I'm really unwilling, Yanqing whispered. He felt a deep sense of powerlessness from the inside out. Crack, crack. Just when the finger was about to touch Yanqing's skin, a trace of cold air accurately hit the finger and froze it. What? Ma was startled, then reacted and shouted, "Who is it? Come out." "Cold air, someone from the Ice Palace," we said solemnly. "Yes, Lan from the Ice Palace is here," a voice sounded, and next to Yanqing, the space twisted and fluctuated, and a heroic man in armor walked out slowly and quickly. "Master." Len Yi was surprised. "Ice Warrior Saint." Whis looked solemn, staring at Lan who had just appeared. He felt an extremely powerful oppressive force from Lan. Even he, a third-class divine commander, felt faintly at a disadvantage in front of this man. Chapter 161, Lan, who supports Yanqing. Lan's face was calm, and he didn't make any moves. Just standing there was an invisible deterrent force emanating, which made Whis and Ma dare not move rashly. So strong. Ma was startled. Her mental power couldn't even figure out Lan's depth. She only felt the chill that could almost freeze her soul. Palace Master Yanqing, Chenzi and other Ice Palace warriors were so excited that their hearts were about to jump out of their chests. No one expected that the Ice Palace Master Lan would come to Lanjiao Star. Many warriors were in tears. They all grew up listening to Lan's legend and had great respect for Lan. Now they could see Lan's peerless figure. This life was worth it. Lan, the Ice Palace Master of this generation, was the most legendary saint in the Ice Palace. Because of his extremely abnormal talent and demon-like comprehension, in order to avoid being targeted by jealous forces, he practiced very low-key and was not well known before becoming a saint. However, after becoming a saint, he became famous. 30 years ago, on the front line of the Andromeda Star region, Lan killed 2 third-class insect commanders and millions of insects in a large-scale battle, shocking the Andromeda Star region. Later, he traveled in the galaxy, and his deeds are still circulating in many star regions. The previous Ice Palace Master said, Lan is the most outstanding successor of the Ice Palace in 1,000 years. He often lamented that the Ice Palace's foundation was too weak, otherwise Lan would be enough to become the emperor. More than 10 years ago, Lan surpassed his 2 senior brothers. Now that these years have passed, no one knows Lan's true strength. Ding. Lan's eyes swept, and the saintly pressure on everyone was instantly dissipated, and they regained their freedom. Greetings to the Palace Master. Yanqing and Chenzi led the Ice Palace warriors to rush forward and pay homage. Lan is their spiritual belief. Lan looked at the group of warriors and said quietly, in the future, the Ice Palace will be re-established on Lanjiao Star, and you will be the first beneficiaries. Thank you, Palace Master. Yanqing and Chenzi were overjoyed, and the warriors cheered. Although they had a hard time on Lanjiao Star, they had stayed here for a long time, and had developed feelings for Lanjiao Star. Lan said that the Ice Palace would be re-established on Lanjiao Star. This was really the best news. Uncle Lan. Guzan came over and bowed respectfully. His master and Lan were close friends, so he was very familiar with Lan. Lan's mental power swept over Guzang's body, frowned slightly and said, Guzang, your condition has worsened. Remember to return to Le Palace within 3 months. Yes, Uncle Lan, I will go back, after staying on this planet for a few days. Guzang said seriously. Master, Len Yi opened his mouth. He didn't know what to say. He violated Lan's teachings and embarked on the path he wanted to take, and he also became a saint seer, embarking on another path of cultivation. Master will definitely be very angry. He felt guilty and was ready to be taught a lesson by Lan. But Len Yi heard Lan say at this time, you did a good job, Master. Len Yi was stunned. Master actually praised him. Is this still his strict and cold master? You can find your own way. This is what I have been looking forward to. After I deal with Yanqing's affairs, I will discuss the characteristics of this special cultivation system with you. You did a good job this time. Lan praised. Yes, Master. Len Yi wanted to cry and choked. Senior, thank you very much. Yanqing coughed. He wanted to bow to Lan to thank him, but was supported by Lan. No need to do this. After all, I still owe you a favor. You want to take back that woman, right? I will help you. Lan looked at Qin Ziyang and said, you want to help me? Yanqing was stunned. Not bad. Lan nodded. He stretched out his hand and patted Yanqing's shoulder gently. A warm current flowed into Yanqing's body. Yanqing felt that most of the injuries on his body were instantly healed. You can't interfere with this level. Just watch and watch. Lan warned, and with a wave of his hand, a great force made Yanqing retreat dozens of meters involuntarily. Although Lan had been talking to someone, Whis and Maya still didn't dare to move. A trembling aura locked them. As long as they moved, they would inevitably be struck by thunder. Ice Warrior Saint, do you really want to stop us? Whis asked in a deep voice. He felt that the situation was a little bad. That's right, Lan said lightly. Whis' face changed. It was bad. If Lan really attacked them, he and Maya might not be Lan's opponents. Maya was unhappy, and just as she was about to speak, Lan glanced at her lightly. There was a world of ice and snow in this look, without any vitality, which made her speechless. Maya's forehead was covered with sweat. One look made her whole body cold. How terrible was this man? Even her brother Oya, who was a 4th class god marshal, did not have such a strong deterrent power to attract the mind of a 2nd class god marshal. Could he be a 5th class god marshal? Maya didn't dare to imagine it anymore. Whis looked at Lan in shock. The feeling just now was a state of satisfaction. He couldn't fight hard, absolutely not. He could only persuade and bribe him to try. Whis was silent for a while and said, this is the princess of our god clan, Saint Bingwu. You should know what the princess means to us. You should not stop us. Besides, even if you can stop the two of us from taking her away, there will be more god marshals, and even our god king, coming here in the future. Can you stop them? As long as we take the princess away, I can establish friendly trade relations with the Swan Star region on behalf of the Moon God King, and open up the channel between the Aquarius Star region and the Swan Star region. The specialty of the God clan is also a scarce item on the human side, so the Swan Star region can also prosper. Saint Bingwu, what do you think? Faced with the conditions offered by Whis, Lan said nothing, and even his expression did not change. Yanqing's eyes were dim. Although Lan said he would help him, as the master of the Ice Palace who controlled the Swan Star region, how could he not agree to such a condition, in order to make the Swan Star region strong? Is he really unable to keep Qin Ziyang? Just when Yanqing was desperate, Lan finally spoke. No matter what the woman's identity is, she must stay here now. Why don't you accept it? This is a very generous condition. Whis was stunned and couldn't accept it. It's not interests that dominate humans, but emotions. For me, no matter how good the conditions you offer are, they can't shake me. Lan shook his head, raised his hand, and slowly spread it. A ball of cold air floated on his palm, emitting a gem-like brilliance. As for you, I would like to ask you why you violated the covenant and entered the human starfield during the non-war period. I will report this matter to the Alliance for processing. If you want to welcome your princess back, let the Moon God King apply to the Alliance himself. If approved, I will not stop it. Otherwise, even if the God King comes, I will still stop it. Lan showed no mercy and was very domineering and strong. Let's go. Whis' expression changed for a long time, and he gritted his teeth and said, Whis, what are you talking about? We must take the princess back. Maya looked at Whis in disbelief. She couldn't believe that this was what the loyal Whis said. Don't dream about it. If we stay here any longer, let alone take the princess away, even if we have to stay, this person is about to take the step beyond life and death. Whis said to Maya with his mental power. Take that step. How is it possible? Maya was shocked. This matter can only be reported to His Majesty the God King first, and His Majesty the God King will handle it. Retreat. Okay. Maya reluctantly let go of Qin Ziyang, and was about to leave with Whis. Suddenly, Lan's voice rang out behind her. You injured Yanqing. It's not right to leave like this. What do you want? Maya showed a look of fear, intimidated by Lan's strength. Of course, I'll teach you a little lesson. Lan clenched his fingers lightly, and the ball of cold air turned into a blue ice crystal, circling and flying out. Shield of light. Mi was terrified, and held up a white shield with both hands. to block it in front of her, but this small ice crystal had the weight of a star, and nothing could stop it. Boom. The shield broke, Maya vomited blood, and flew across the sky, without even a trace of fighting back. Damn. We smoothed and caught Maya. He said in a deep voice, Ice Warrior Saint, we have learned how powerful you are. When Our Highness the God King comes, I wonder if you can still be so casual. It doesn't matter who comes. I'm always here to accompany you. Lan said indifferently. Whoosh. Whis flew away from Lang Geostar with the seriously injured Maya. He originally wanted to secretly take the princess back with Maya to give His Highness the God King a surprise. It seems that now he can only send the news of the princess's appearance back to the God Realm and let His Highness the God King come to pick her up in person. Chapter 162. There are some things you will regret if you don't do them. Xianja, wake up. Yanqing rushed forward, hugged Qin Xiang, and sent the microcosm into her body. This is Yanqing's voice. Am I not taken away? Qin Xiang woke up, her chest rose, and fell a few times, and slowly opened her eyes. As she wished, she saw the person she wanted to see the most at first sight, the anxious Yanqing, not the two people who called her a princess, and wanted to take her away. Yanqing. Qin Xiang threw herself into his arms and cried bitterly, I thought I would never see you again. I will always be with you. It's okay, it's okay. Yanqing hugged Qin Xiang tightly, and patted her back gently. Thank you, Yanqing. Qin Xiang's emotions were very unstable, and she was weak after treating Yanqing. Seeing that she was still here, and did not leave, she felt relieved, and fell asleep tiredly. Yanqing was silent for a while, then got up, and walked into the house, put Qin Xiang in his arms on the bed, and turned and walked out. Thank you for your help, senior. Yanqing stepped forward, and bowed to Lan sincerely. If it weren't for Lan's help, Qin Xiang would have been taken away by Maya and Whis. No need to be polite. This is also a favor I owe you. Lan shook his head slightly. He said, besides, I can only stop her this time. When the Moon God King comes, even if I try my best, I can't stop her. She will still be taken away. I didn't expect that this woman is the long lost princess of the God clan. The will of heaven is unpredictable and fate is unknown. I originally wanted to solve this matter for you directly, but now I can't do it at all. Sorry, I miscalculated this time. Master, is there no way? Leng Yi asked. There is no way. Finding the God clan princess and bringing her back has always been the biggest thing for the God clan. The entire God clan will be crazy about this matter. I can stop a few God marshals, but can I stop the God King who is equivalent to the human emperor? Lang revealed the cruel truth. Yanqing's body trembled violently when he heard Lan's words. He was silent for a long time before he said, even so, I still have to thank you, senior. Uncle Lan, why was Qin Xiang found by the gods at this time? Wasn't she not discovered before? Guzan asked. More than 10 days ago, a huge energy fluctuation and supreme will erupted on the Aurora star, and all the saints in the entire Swan Star region could feel it. I guess at that time, it was the fluctuation caused by the awakening of this woman. After awakening, the fluctuation of divine power was very obvious, so the two gods were able to track her down. Lang explained. So it was me. Yanqing lost consciousness. More than 10 days ago, he should have been protecting the City of Light, which triggered the small universe in Qin Xiang's body. It's my fault that Xianja was discovered by the gods. Yanqing, you. Leng Yi looked at Yanqing, who was in pain and self-blame. A look of worry appeared on his face. Don't worry, I just want to be alone now. Yanqing whispered, staggering and walking past Leng Yi. Going away. Leng Yi was about to follow, but was stopped by Lan. Leng Yi, talk to me about your cultivation system first. After a while, wait for Yanqing to sort out his thoughts, then go find him. It's best to let him stay alone at this time. Yes, master. Leng Yi hesitated for a moment and responded. The sun soon set, the sky became dark, and it was late at night in a blink of an eye. Yanqing sat on a huge rock, facing the starry sky alone. He had been sitting here for a long time. Qin Xiang's affairs had been lingering in his mind. When he thought that Qin Xiang was about to leave him, he felt a deep pain in his soul, and his heart seemed to be torn apart. Yanqing touched his chest, His face seemed to be crying and laughing, and he murmured, "Am I the one who took away those days that can't be returned?" It was not until this time that I realized that I had already. His voice gradually became inaudible. Whoosh. Something flew over with the sound of wind. Yanqing caught it and took a closer look. It turned out to be a bottle of wine. Master said that wine can relieve sorrow. Leng Yi jumped onto the rock and sat side by side with Yanqing. He also had wine in his hand. In the past, people often sat with me like this to drink. Yanqing's eyes showed nostalgia. He thought of Yang Su and the Yang family of Tao and Star. I always feel that I have experienced a lot during this period of time. I have met many people and things. Xianja, Xiaobei, Yu, Guzang, and the group of warriors from the Ice Palace and the people from the City of Light. Time has passed very quickly. Yanqing sighed. He pulled out the cork of the bottle and poured a big mouthful of wine into his mouth. Leng Yi followed Yanqing's example, pulled out the cork of the bottle, smelled the wine, and frowned. This was his first time drinking. Meeting Xianja was the most unexpected thing for me, and also the happiest thing. I thought that, after defeating the Zerg, I could finally live a stable life. I didn't expect that someone would appear and want to take Xianja away against her will. But I couldn't stop him. It was ridiculous. Yanqing drank the wine in the bottle in one gulp, and tears were already streaming down his face. Leng Yi was silent, raised the bottle, and took a big sip of wine. The spicy taste of the wine rushed straight to his head, making him cough involuntarily. "Don't force yourself to drink." Yanqing smiled. "Ahem, I can do it." Leng Yi shook his head, and took another big sip. "Why, are you worried about me?" "A little. But instead of worrying about you, I'm more worried about Qin Xiang," Leng Yi said indifferently. "Xianja?" Yanqing was puzzled. Yes, as the saying goes, those who are involved are confused, while those who are on the sidelines can see things more clearly. There are some things that I see more clearly than you. Qin Xiang needs comfort more than anyone else now. The mystery of her life has been solved, and although it has brought her a huge shock, she actually longs for the world of the gods and hopes to see her people. However, she is unwilling to leave for only one reason, and that is for you. She is willing to give up going back. The two gods have brought back her memories. I guess she should be crying now, missing her parents. She must need comfort at this time, but you are not by her side," Leng Yi said indifferently. I know. So, I feel sorry for her. Even though she thinks so, and relies on me so much, I can't protect her. When I think of her being taken away, and her hopeful eyes becoming dim, I dare not go to see her. I'm afraid she will be sad." Yanqing tore his hair and said painfully. "Then if you hide here, she won't be taken away, and won't be sad." Leng Yi's lips bloomed with a sneer. "Yanqing, I misjudged you. You turned out to be such a cowardly man. As a good friend, I advise you that, since you can't change it, then do what she wants you to do. If you don't do some things, you will regret it in the future. Cherish this last period of time. According to Master, the God King will come here in at most one day, and you still have more than 10 hours. Leng Yi drank the last sip of wine, turned around and left, disappearing into the vast night. More than 10 hours? It's really a short time. Yanqing smiled bitterly, but there was a firm look in his eyes. He jumped off the boulder and walked towards Qin Xiang's room. Just as Leng Yi said, if you don't do some things, you will definitely regret it. He wants to respond to Qin Xiang in this last moment. In Shaoyang Mountain, thousands of miles away from the Bing Palace's station, Lan took off his armor and sat on the ground. His eyes looked through the ruins here, and the scene of Wu Liang's disappearance was reflected in his eyes. In the deserted and dead place, Lan's cold face showed a lonely expression. He was very lonely. Of the 3 people before, he was the only one left now. Wu Liang, you are born domineering and arrogant. You want to grab everything and take everything. You just want to make a name for yourself, but you forget about me, your comrade in arms. You are holding on until your death. You are as stubborn as a bull. Yangshan, you too. You failed to break through the level, and didn't even tell me. With me here, I can even take it away from you, even if it's to treat the possessed Chun Shukai and Lian. Are you so face-saving that you don't want to trouble me? Even if you practice to become an emperor, you are still a human being with 7 emotions and 6 desires, and comrades in arms. Without you, what's the point of reaching the realm of God? I have been stationed in the Ice Palace for a long time, and I really miss you. I miss the days when we traveled the starfield together. The past is like the wind, too fleeting. The brilliant fireworks are in vain. Life is full of sorrows and separations. Flowers bloom and wither again. I regret it very much. If I hadn't inherited the heavy burden of the Ice Palace Master, it would be a pity that everything can't go back to the starting point. When Lengyi truly inherits my legacy, I will accompany you. That time will surely be the happiest for me. Please wait patiently, this day will not be too long. Lang stared at the starry sky and said quietly. In front of him, there were 3 bottles of wine. One bottle was held in his hand and was empty. The other 2 bottles were placed opposite him, and were still full. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 It's Dawn. How long will it take to carve the interstellar communication array? Maya, with a pale face, adjusted the disordered key in her body and recovered from her injuries. Lang Na's light blow directly shattered her internal organs, causing her to be seriously injured. However, the Saint's recovery ability is amazing, and such a serious injury can be recovered in half a day. There are about 7 hours left. Don't worry, it will be quick. Weiss focused on carving the array on the ground with divine power. Circles of complicated golden veins were arranged in a regular pattern, and the laws of the law surged and spread on the golden veins, forming a mysterious pattern. When His Majesty the God King comes, if that human saint dares to stop us from taking the princess away again, he must be made to suffer. Even if he is about to take that step, he is far inferior to His Majesty the God King. Maya snorted coldly and said hatefully. This was the first time she had been injured in more than 10 years. Yanqing walked to Qin Ziyang's door. With his sharp hearing, he clearly heard faint sobbing in the house, which made his heart shrink involuntarily and felt distressed. Is Ziyanja crying? As Leng Yi said. I'm such a blockhead, such an idiot. I should be by her side at this time. Yanqing took a deep breath, put his hand on the door, knocked gently a few times, and said, Ziyanja, it's me. Squeak. Yanqing pushed the door open and walked in, only to see Qin Ziyang sitting quietly beside the bed, her eyes swollen like peaches. Obviously she was crying very hard. Yanqing looked at Qin Ziyang, not knowing how to start. Qin Ziyang was knocked unconscious by Maya before Lan arrived. Therefore, she did not hear what Lan said. She did not know that she would be taken away. Should he tell Ziyanja the truth directly? Tell Ziyanja that he could not protect her? The fact that he could only watch her leave? Ziyanja would definitely be very sad if she knew it, and Yanqing really found it difficult to speak. Yanqing, is there anything wrong? Qin Ziyang asked gently. Yanqing hesitated for a while, sighed secretly, but still couldn't say it. He thought for a while and said, Ziyanja, can you tell me about your past? What happened when you were a child? Sure. Qin Ziyang smiled. 17 years ago, on a lifeboat in outer space on Aurora Star, I was found and adopted by Qin Yu, the wife of the Lord of Yangshan City, when I was still a baby. I was really lucky. If she hadn't passed by there that day, I would have died long ago. Later, after Mrs. Qin Yu passed away, I moved out and lived in that yard for a few years, until I met you. Qin Ziyang lowered his head and said, so this is how Ziyanja has been living all these years. I still don't know Ziyanja very well. Yanqing's thoughts turned around, and the cruel fact was always about to come to his lips, but he swallowed it back. He wanted to say it, but he was afraid that Qin Ziyang couldn't bear it. However, Yanqing, you seem to have something to say. I don't have much time left. Qin Ziyang turned his head, blinking her eyes. There was a hint of sadness in her gentle eyes. Yanqing was startled. Then she reacted and said in shock, time is running out, so you know. Well, don't forget, I can see the future. Although I can only see a few pictures, there are scenes of me leaving in the pictures. At dawn, a person whose figure cannot be seen will come here. He is very powerful and no one can stop him. He will take me back to the god's domain. Qin Xiang said faintly. When she foresaw this picture in her dream, she almost collapsed. Yanqing was in pain, and she was crying. She really didn't want to leave Yanqing's side. In another picture, she saw herself and a gentle middle-aged man standing on the top of dozens of starfields, with hundreds of millions of gods crawling at their feet. It was at this time that Qin Xiang understood part of the meaning of the 4 words God's Princess. She didn't want to be a princess of hundreds of millions of gods. She just wanted to be an ordinary Qin Xiang who belonged only to Yanqing. However, this wish could only be a flower in the mirror and a moon in the water, and it could not be realized. I've been waiting for you to come to me. We have less than 10 hours to spend together. He will come at dawn. Qin Xiang threw himself into Yanqing's arms, buried his head in Yanqing's chest, and his voice trembled. Dawn. Yanqing clenched his fists, his nails digging into the flesh. This was too fast, faster than Lan expected. During this time before I leave, can you just think of me? Qin Xiang said expectantly. Of course, I'll take you out for a walk, okay? Yanqing stroked Qin Xiang's soft purple hair and lowered his head to whisper in her ear. Okay. Qin Xiang said gently, like a virtuous wife. The two walked out of the door. Yanqing embraced Qin Xiang, crossed the sky, flew among the clouds, like a real fairy couple, and returned with the wind, their sleeves fluttering. In a green area that was not destroyed by the insect soldiers, Yanqing landed with Qin Xiang in his arms, lay under a big tree, and snuggled together. There were some fireflies flickering in the distance. Under their feet was a sea of flowers emitting a deep blue light. The wind blew slowly, and the 24-petal flowers swayed slowly. It was quiet and peaceful here. Qin Xiang leaned her head on Yanqing and asked softly, Yanqing, if I leave, will you miss me? Yes, Yanqing answered softly, but his tone was firm. Will you come back to find me in the future? Yes, even if there are restrictions on the covenant, I will come to find you. And between me and Fengling, who do you like more? Yanqing opened his mouth. This was really difficult to answer. Looking at Qin Xiang who was about to leave, Yanqing's heart trembled, and he mustered up the courage to speak. But just when he wanted to speak, Qin Xiang's hand suddenly covered his mouth. Qin Xiang smiled and shook her head, saying, from your eyes, I already know the result. I'm very satisfied that you can think this way. I'm sorry, no need to say sorry. Don't be sad because of my departure. You have more important things to do. I believe that one day you can come to me, then we will meet again. Qin Xiang and Yanqing snuggled together, feeling very peaceful, feeling each other's body temperature and heartbeat. Although they wanted to stay for a while longer, time always passed the fastest when they were parting, like a white horse passing by, fleeting light, and in a blink of an eye, it came to the last moment. Daybreak. The figure of a middle-aged man appeared in this deep blue sea of flowers at some point, with a bright moon hanging over his head, cold as frost. Chapter 164 Daking Guy is 3 minutes. The man had a resolute face, and silver grey hair fluttering. Under the shining of a full moon, he was dressed in white clothes, as white as snow, and walked forward step by step with supreme grace and extraordinary elegance. The deep blue sea of flowers seemed to have a spirit, automatically making a path for him. This is the moon god king who is comparable to the emperor of man. Yanqing was shocked. The man in front of him, even if his breath was restrained, had a terrifying aura that was enough to make the boundless starry sky tremble. He was completely not on the same level as Maya Weiss before. Yanqing wanted to get up, but found that his body seemed to be restrained by something, and could not move. The moon god king walked closer, with 2 crescent moons floating in his eyes. He looked at Qin Xiang's breath, and a trace of excitement appeared on his face, and then calmed down. He bowed slightly to Qin Xiang, and after a slight salute, he said calmly, Princess, I, Odeus, in the name of His Majesty the Divine Emperor, will take you back to the Divine Domain Palace. Okay, I'll leave now. Qin Xiang said quietly. At this time, her heart calmed down, and she was ready to leave, but she still felt a little regretful. If possible, she would like to stay with Yanqing for a while, but unfortunately the time was up. Yanqing, I'm leaving. Take care of yourself. Qin Xiang bit her lip, said a final hello to Yanqing, and quickly turned around and left with the Moon God King. She was afraid that Yanqing would see the tears in her eyes. Since she couldn't resist, she could only passively accept and leave passively. Xianja. Yanqing opened his mouth and wanted to speak, but his body was bound, and he couldn't say the last farewell words at all. He could only watch Qin Xiang just go away like this. The Moon God King never said a word to Yanqing. In his eyes, Yanqing was just an ordinary human. Even if he had become a good friend or even a lover with the princess of the gods over the years, so what? The noble princess of the gods stood above the kingdoms of dozens of star regions. In the future, she would inherit the throne of the gods and become the queen of the gods. And what about the future of this human boy? He just glanced at it. Although the power in this human's body was pure, it was very mixed. Various auras were mixed together. It was difficult for him to become a saint or a human emperor, let alone an immortal. There was no possibility of reaching the princess of the gods. In the future, no. From this moment on, these two people would be like flying birds and swimming fish, and there would be no intersection. Qin Xiang followed behind the Moon God King silently, gradually going farther and farther. No. Yanqing's chest was filled with depression. He wanted to yell out loudly, even if he was mentally prepared. When it really came to this moment, he was still heartbroken, watching the person he loved go away from here, but he couldn't even say goodbye. This feeling was really painful to the extreme. Bang! The microcosm was directly ignited by Yanqing's intense emotions. Yanqing's whole body glowed, and he wanted to break free from this restraining force, but this restraining force was too strong, and he still couldn't even open his mouth. Clang! The Pegasus holy clothes were put onto Yanqing's face, and the Phoenix, Pegasus, and White Bird appeared together, and the phantoms of the three constellations appeared. The 5-color divine light fell, and the 4-character mantra of fighting and coming to the soldiers was running. Yanqing used all his means, but it still didn't work. Boom. The energy fluctuated violently, but Qin Xiang, who left, didn't feel it at all. This was because the Moon God King controlled the violent energy within 1 square meter around Yanqing, smoothed the energy fluctuations, and didn't make any sound. Damn it. Yanqing opened his mouth, but couldn't make a sound. His body, which had not yet fully recovered, had exploded in several places under the impact of the energy, and blood flowers bloomed. The wounds were bloody and fleshy, and the bones were visible. In the end, I couldn't even say goodbye to Xianja. Yanqing screamed in his heart, and a deep sense of powerlessness surged up. Never before had he felt the importance of power more than at this moment. If he had the power to override everything today would be rewritten, and Qin Xiang would not leave his side. Yanqing kept using various means to resist in vain. His body exploded with a bang, and under the effect of the Bing mantra, it was difficult to reassemble, again and again, without stopping. Just when Yanqing was almost in despair, a faint helpless voice rang in Yanqing's ears. What an idiot. It's not like we won't see each other again in the future. This impulsive temper is really comparable to your master. This voice is very familiar. Although Yanqing has only heard it once, he has a very deep impression, and can't forget it. This is the voice of the palace master. He widened his eyes. A young man with a heroic figure suddenly appeared in front of him, with a nonchalant smile on his face. The aura on his body seemed to be able to penetrate the 9 heavens and 10 earths, sweep across the heavens, and merge with the boundless avenue. It was Daking Gai, the palace master of Xianfu. Hey, Kit, long time no see. Although I really want to chat with you, it seems that now is not the time to say hello. Let you say goodbye to her first, otherwise it will be too late. Daking Gai snapped his fingers lightly. Bang. Yanqing suddenly felt his whole body loosen up, and the restraints were broken. Thank you, Palace Master. Yanqing was pleasantly surprised. Daking Gai's arrival at this time was undoubtedly the greatest support. Go, I will stop the Moon God King. Say whatever you want to say quickly. Remember that you only have 3 minutes. Don't waste time by nagging. Daking Gai patted Yanqing's shoulder and said with a smile. Ta. The steps of the Moon God King paused, and he frowned slightly. This breath was the human Emperor Daking Gai. How could he come here? And he also released his restraints on that human. Xianja. A call from a distance reached Qin Xiang's ears. She seemed to have sensed something, turned around, and saw Yanqing running towards her quickly. "Yanqing," Qin Ziyang murmured, as if she had lost her mind, and ran towards Yanqing regardless of everything. She forgot that the Moon God King was still by her side, restraining her. The Moon God King's face froze, and just as he was about to stop Qin Ziyang, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him, and eliminated the restraint on Qin Ziyang. "Daking Gai, do you know what you are doing? Don't stop me," the Moon God King said angrily. "What to do? Of course, let me, a disciple of Fu, say goodbye to your princess. What else can I do?" Daking Gai shrugged. "Young people should have the energy of young people. Why do we old guys have to get involved? How about giving them 3 minutes to say goodbye? If you don't agree, I will take action against you." Well, although there is only a clone here, it is still no problem to delay until my real body comes. "Do you want to try?" Daking Gai said casually. Although it seemed like he was joking and cynical, people who were familiar with Daking Gai knew that his attitude was the most serious. "Okay." Mengai God King was gloomy and uncertain, and finally made a decision. He didn't need to fight with this terrifying human emperor. You must know that Daking Gai's combat power is also top-notch among the human emperors. 3 minutes, so what? It's just in vain. This human has no chance. How can he get his hands on the Pearl of the Gods? Mengai God King said secretly. Yanqing walked in front of Qin Ziyang, and the two of them hugged each other tightly at the same time, feeling each other's breath. Mengai God King's expression became very ugly and wanted to stop him, but Daking Gai kept muttering 3 minutes, which made him hold back. "Xianja, I want to say that no matter what you become, no matter how high your status is, I will not give up. One day I will be able to catch up with you and reach the other side of the cloud bank where you are. I believe that this day will not be too far away. You wait for me." Yanqing said gently. "I will wait for you, always." Qin Ziyang had tears on her face. Yanqing lowered his head. Qin Ziyang raised her head, and the two kissed fiercely in the deep blue sea of flowers, responding to each other. Boom. The Moon God King couldn't help it. The actions of Yanqing and Qin Ziyang completely broke through his inner bottom line. Yanqing must die. He actually dared to violate the princess of the God clan. The law of the full moon condensed above his head. Just as a beam of silver moonlight was about to shoot out, a person's finger suddenly passed through his tight defense and gently pressed against his heart, forcing the Moon God King to stop his actions. Daking Gai smiled and said lightly, "I said, give them 3 minutes, didn't you hear me?" Chapter 165. The True Use of Microcosm. Daking Gai, you. The eyes of the Moon God King shrank. It was just a clone, but it could easily hit his heart. This guy was going further and further on the road to becoming a god. Forget it. If he had to fight Daking Gai for this, it would inevitably cause a great turmoil in the starfield and alarm the entire alliance. His coming to the human starfield itself was an act of violating the covenant. If he was silent and not discovered, it would be fine. If he was really noticed by the alliance, he would inevitably be punished. The Moon God King's mind moved, silently dispersed the silver moonlight above his head, and stood with his hands behind his back. "That's right, Moon God King, we have been dealing with each other for so many years. People should be flexible, and not too rigid." Daking Gai slowly retracted his fingers and said leisurely. The Moon God King's face did not change, and he did not say a word. Talking to Daking Gai was purely asking for trouble. He deeply experienced this in previous wars. When the 3 minutes were up, the Moon God King came forward and separated Qin Ziyang and Yanqing with an invisible force. "Princess, it's time to leave," the Moon God King said quietly. Qin Ziyang nodded silently. Yanqing wanted to say something else, but the Moon God King obviously didn't give him a chance. He took Qin Ziyang and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Yanqing raised his head and looked at the sky. He felt empty in his heart. Qin Ziyang was gone. After this separation, he didn't know when he would meet again. Maybe he would never see her again in his life. Yanqing was immersed in his own sadness, but he didn't stay in it for long. Bang, bang, bang. Daking Gai raised his hand and knocked on Yanqing's forehead with great force. Every time he knocked out a big bump, he smiled and said, "Everyone is gone. What are you still looking at? Come back to your senses. Come back to your senses. It hurts." Palace Master, you hit me so hard. Yanqing covered his forehead and grinned. He immediately came out of his sadness. Is it heavy? I don't think so. Do you want to try again? Dakingai blinked and asked seriously. Not heavy. Not heavy. Lord, I won't try. Yanqing shook his head vigorously. Dakingai's hand strength was very measured. It would not hurt him, but it would produce severe pain and penetrate into various parts of the nerves. Yanqing bowed deeply to Dakingai and said, Lord, thank you for your help. Dakingai waved his hand and said with a wicked smile, no need to thank me. It's just a small favor. But if you really want to thank me, go to Earth quickly. Bring me the first place. Yanqing's face wrinkled into a bitter gourd. Dakingai really still kept this matter in mind. He felt that Dakingai came out this time, probably to urge him to improve his strength quickly. After coming out to experience, Yanqing realized how terrible those monsters were. After the combat power is improved to the extreme, it can reach the combat power of a quasi-saint. With his current strength, he has no chance of winning. What's wrong, Yanqing? You look so sad. This task should be quite simple. Dakingai blew a breath gently, and a recliner appeared. He lay on it comfortably, smiling happily. Master, you make it sound too easy. If you have the ability, you can do it yourself. Yanqing couldn't help but complain in his heart, but he didn't dare to show any dissatisfaction on his face, and responded timidly. However, Yanqing, there is a big problem with your current cultivation, Dakingai said slowly. Problems with cultivation? Yanqing asked strangely. He felt that he had been making continuous progress. His strength was improving rapidly, and with the help of the system, how could there be problems? It seems that you don't realize it yourself. Well, let me wake you up, otherwise you won't get the first place. Dakingai shook his head, sighed, pointed out with one finger, and a strong wind gently hit Yanqing's chest. What's wrong? Yanqing looked at Dakingai with some doubts. He felt that his body was still the same as usual, without any changes. Try to use the energy in your body, Dakingai said. Yanqing did as he was told. Just as he was about to use the energy, the small universe in his body suddenly shook violently, the sea of stars flickered, and the energy broke free from his control, like a wild horse running away, crashing around in his body. Bang! Yanqing fell straight to the ground face down. The meridians in his body seemed to be torn apart, and even his sea of consciousness showed signs of instability. He said with difficulty, Master, what's going on? Why is the energy out of my control? Yanqing really couldn't understand why his body had changed like this. You feel something unusual, right? Dakingai said lightly. He waved his hand, and a strong wind hit Yanqing's chest again, calming the energy. Relieved Yanqing's pain. Yanqing, the things you practice are too complicated. Various forces in your body are intertwined, and the key is extremely disordered. It's fine at ordinary times, but once you make a breakthrough in a major realm, these forces of different nature will be involuntarily triggered, causing serious and even irreparable damage to your body. My finger only drew out 1% of the power in your body, which made you fall to the ground and tear your meridians. Then what about 100% of the power? Will your body explode into pieces? Dakingai slowly explained the problem. Yanqing was sweating coldly after hearing what Dakingai said. His practice actually had such a huge hidden danger. Fortunately, Dakingai appeared before he broke through the immortal realm and pointed out the problem. It's still in time to solve it now. Master, how can I solve it to reach the immortal realm? Yanqing asked. Only when he reached the level of an immortal can he be qualified to compete with those of elders. If he can't become an immortal, then he can only play a supporting role in that all-star competition. The solution is very simple. Just give up martial arts and get rid of all the energy in your body. Dakingai said lightly. His tone was very serious. However, when Yanqing heard this solution, he was stunned. What kind of solution is this? Abolish martial arts and get rid of all the energy. Isn't that destroying your own cultivation? How could he accept this method? There must be other solutions. Yanqing was about to ask again, but Dakingai said at this time, don't worry, Yanqing, the method I'm talking about is not what you think. It will not endanger your cultivation. To be precise, it should improve your strength and greatly increase your combat power. Yanqing couldn't help but be confused and said, "Master, what do you mean? I don't understand." Daking restrained the smile on his face and said seriously, "Yanqing, have you thoroughly understood the mysterious power in your body?" "Mysterious power?" Yanqing was startled, then reacted. "Are you talking about the microcosm? You call that mysterious power the microcosm? Well, this name is good and fits the nature of that power." Daking held up his chin and nodded. "Yanqing, do you really understand your own microcosm? If I'm not mistaken, you use the microcosm as an energy core, as a star core." "Palace Master, how do you know?" Yanqing asked in surprise. "Fool, what a fool. The microcosm is not used in this way. You can't bring out its full power at all." Daking sighed, with a tone of regret, and reached out to knock on Yanqing's head a few more times. Bang bang bang. Yanqing's forehead bulged a few more times, but at this time Yanqing had no time to care about the pain. His attention was completely attracted by Daking words. "The microcosm is not used in this way, then how should it be used?" Chapter 166, Microcosmic Cultivation System. "Master, how should the microcosm be used?" Yanqing humbly asked for advice. As the emperor of the human race, Daking was at the highest level of cultivation. His vision was extraordinary. He could see the essence of things through phenomena and the complete context of things through a trace. As for the microcosm in his body, Daking who possessed the peak power of humans, must be able to see the secrets of the microcosm that he could not see. But what made Yanqing depressed was that Daking waved his hand and rejected his inquiry. "Let's talk about this question later, Yanqing. Let me ask you, what do you know about UN energy?" Yanqing thought for a while and said, "UN energy is the foundation of all cultivation. Moves are condensed and played by UN energy, and realms are continuously improved by UN energy accumulation. After being promoted to the immortal realm, UN energy will be refined into a higher level of energy UN gang." Daking nodded and said, "Well, that's right, but this is relative to the star core cultivation system. UN energy is not applicable to other cultivation systems." "Other cultivation systems?" Yanqing asked in confusion. "Yes, for example, the God clan cultivates divine power, and the spirit clan cultivates spiritual power, not UN. The use of their own energy by these two clans is completely different from that of humans. And your microcosm also has a unique cultivation system, which can be called a microcosm cultivation system. The energy for cultivation is naturally not UN, but the microcosm itself." Daking tapped the armrest of the recliner with his fingers and said slowly, "Palace Master, what do you mean?" Yanqing's heart was shaken, and a vague thought flashed through his mind. He seemed to understand what Daking wanted to say. Daking stood up from the recliner and said seriously, "Yanqing, you had completely wrong ideas when you started practicing. The path of practice you took cannot be applied to the things in the star core practice system. In other words, UN energy should not exist in your body, and the concepts of transmigration, immortality, sainthood, and emperor are not suitable for you. Because you practiced the Sun Sutra, you generated UN energy when you entered the transmigration realm, which led to the two practice systems being mixed together, causing the microcosm to become a substitute for the star core. The power of your own microcosm was therefore covered up by the UN energy, and could not exert its true power. In fact, the level of your microcosm has long reached the level of immortals. That's why you can control the UN energy that is only in the transmigration realm, but if you break through to the level of immortals, the UN energy will grow and be on par with a microcosm. Then the UN energy and the microcosm will conflict, causing great damage to your body and soul. Just now I increased the energy in your body, but only about 1% of the entire microcosm, and you fell to the ground. You can see how serious your current cultivation problem is. Fortunately, I came not too late. Otherwise, you would be finished." Daking said with a smile. "So, the Lord of the Palace asked me to abolish martial arts and eliminate all the energy in order to restore the real microcosmic cultivation system." "Yes," Daking said leisurely. It turns out that my efforts are in the wrong direction." Yanqing said bitterly. He didn't expect that he would actually walk into a dead end, standing on the edge of a cliff, and almost fell into the abyss. But now I can find it. It's a good thing. Yanqing thought silently, quickly sorted out his mood, and calmed down. A look of approval flashed in Yanqing's eyes. After such a big blow, he was able to recover quickly. He deserves to be the successor that he and Yi Yang and the other four are optimistic about. Lord of the Palace, how can I abolish martial arts and eliminate all the energy? Yanqing asked. To save time, I will help you with this. If you do this process by yourself, you won't be able to complete it in less than half a year. Yanqing walked in front of Yanqing and said, the process may be a little painful, you have to bear it. Yanqing didn't wait for Yanqing to answer and put one hand on Yanqing's shoulder. A huge and abundant law power rushed into Yanqing's body, flushing Yanqing's meridians and washing away the energy. Ah! Yanqing screamed in pain. This feeling was like a knife cutting every part of his body, like a slow slicing. Every nerve was almost broken. The pain was extreme. But along with this pain, the small universe in Yanqing's body suddenly trembled. The stars in the sea of stars became much brighter, and all 88 constellations shone brightly. Waves of energy surged out, which was far more powerful than the previous small universe. If Yanqing's original strength was 1, now Yanqing, who has fully exerted the power of the small universe, has a strength of 20, or even more. The difference is really too big. Yanqing's microcosm is currently at the peak of the middle level of the sixth sense, and is about to break through to the higher level of the sixth sense. If measured by the realm of the star core cultivation system, it is almost the second level of the immortal realm. The area is changing color, with Pegasus flying across the sky, cold white birds dancing, flaming phoenixes singing, and a huge universe emerging behind Yanqing, slowly turning. After all the energy was stripped out of Yanqing's body, the fully released microcosm showed many mysteries that Yanqing had never seen, and he suddenly fell into enlightenment. At this moment, Yanqing finally truly understood the essence of the microcosm. Yanqing showed a satisfied look, and his palm moved away from Yanqing's body. Suddenly, his body twisted and flashed violently several times. The clone separated by the mirror flower and water moon exists for a very short time. Fortunately, what needs to be done has been completed, Yanqing said to himself. Whoosh! Lang noticed the abnormality here and moved over from Shaoyang Mountain at a high speed. He saw Yanqing sitting cross-legged in the figure that was about to disappear. Human Emperor clone. Lang's pupils contracted. He keenly sensed the majesty of an emperor that shook the heavens on Yanqing. Oh, you are an acquaintance of Yanqing, right? I'll leave my Yanqing to you. Yanqing greeted Lan, and he felt Yanqing's aura on Lan. The saint in front of him was very powerful. Yanqing was surprised that Yanqing could have an intersection with such a saint, but after thinking about it, Yanqing was relieved again. As a person with the same origin as Zeman, his actions naturally cannot be speculated by ordinary people. Don't worry, Lord Human Emperor, Yanqing will be left to me. Lan saluted Yanqing respectfully. Every human emperor has made indelible contributions to the human race and deserves the respect of all humans. He originally guessed that Yanqing was a disciple of a big force, but he didn't expect that the force behind Yanqing was so terrifying, with a human emperor in charge. Thank you, you are from the Ice Palace, right? I'll treat you to a drink, if there is a chance. Yanqing nodded slightly, his body turned into light rain, and disappeared with the wind. Chapter 167. In the Centaur Star region, hundreds of thousands of light years away from the Swan Star region, in an old bamboo house in the back mountain of Xianfu, Yanqing, who was meditating quietly, opened his eyes, and the corners of his mouth curled up, and he smiled brightly. After Yanqing solved the major hidden dangers of cultivation, his progress will surely be rapid. After more than a month, even if he can't get the first place, he can still get a good ranking and revive the power of Xianfu. Xianfu can't rely on me alone. The younger generation must also have someone to carry the banner and lead Xianfu to rise. And Yanqing, this little guy, is the best candidate to carry the banner. No one is more suitable than him. Boom. Yanqing, who was immersed in the essence of the small universe, had a powerful aura on his body. With his body as the center, the ground within a radius of 10 miles instantly sank 3 meters. Lang sat quietly beside Yanqing and protected Yanqing. Enlightenment is very precious. It can make a person's strength undergo a huge change. It is hard to find. Some people can hardly have an enlightenment once in their lifetime. At this moment, Yanqing felt that he was in a vast sea of stars in the universe. Constellations flashed before his eyes, and from time to time stars exploded like gorgeous fireworks. The universe was running in a regular manner, and everything was in a dynamic harmony. Yanqing's spirit was spreading and extending infinitely. He felt that he seemed to have touched an unpredictable time and space, where there was no dimension, even time was still, and the space was infinitely broad. I don't know how long it took, maybe a moment, maybe 10,000 years, a million years, or even longer. Yanqing's consciousness shook, and he broke away from that time and space, and returned to the sea of stars in the universe again. At this time, the sea of stars with countless stars had shrunk into a small dot and became desolate. There was no light. This is the end of the universe. Yanqing's consciousness fluctuated slightly, and he was surprised by the scene he saw. The sea of stars shrank sharply, and kept getting smaller. Galaxies were destroyed one by one, and the temperature rose to an unpredictable height. After a few short moments, the universe shrank into an extremely small, but extremely dense singularity, and then it stopped. This is the destruction and origin of the universe. Yanqing's consciousness fluctuated, and he understood. This is the process of interpreting the Big Bang, from destruction to rebirth. Boom. The singularity exploded at that moment. Yanqing's mental power was increased to the maximum, trying to capture the entire process of the Big Bang as much as possible. At the beginning of the explosion, neutrons, protons, electrons, photons, and neutrinos appeared, and the universe began to expand. The temperature and density dropped, atoms and molecules gradually formed, and compounded into various gases. The gas condensed into nebulae, and then synthesized into stars. Galaxies also slowly appeared, and became more and more numerous. The universe began to prosper, and once again became a vast sea of stars. The origin of the universe is the Big Bang, and we humans are also small universes. The Saint CI relies on the explosion of small universes and the crushing of atoms. Yanqing had a clear understanding in his heart. The small universe at the peak of the intermediate sixth sense broke through to the high sixth sense very smoothly, and became extremely profound. Yanqing's consciousness returned to his body. He examined the changes in his body. After losing the UN energy, he felt that his body was quite uncomfortable, but the power of the small universe was indeed dozens of times stronger. However, there are gains and losses. The Sun Sutra is completely useless. The fiery sun fist, the 9 sun fist, and even the great sun dharma image have all disappeared. However, the 9 character mantra seal can still be used, which makes Yanqing feel relieved. With the blessing of the mantra, his combat power will be improved again. Those Avildos must have something with the same effect as the 9 character mantra seal. If he does not have the blessing of the mantra, he may suffer. According to Yanqing, the microcosm has its own cultivation system. That is to say, the cultivation realm of the microcosm is the 5 senses, the 6th sense, the 7th sense, the 8th sense, and even higher realms. For example, Yanqing reached the peak of the middle level of the 6th sense, and his strength was the 2nd level of the immortal realm, but once he broke through to the higher level of the 6th sense, he had the strength of the 4th level of the immortal realm. The star core cultivation realms such as the transcendental realm and the immortal realm are no longer suitable for Yanqing, and can only be used to measure Yanqing's strength. Yanqing thought about it. According to this level of cultivation, it can be roughly determined that the 6th sense corresponds to the transcendental realm and the immortal realm, the 7th sense should correspond to the saint realm, and the 8th sense should correspond to the emperor realm. Until this time, Yanqing had the confidence to participate in the competition and fight against the Avildos. He reached the high level of the 6th sense, and could swing his fists at dozens of times the speed of sound. He could throw nearly 10,000 punches in 1 second, and each punch had a force of thousands of pounds. It could be said to be extremely terrifying. Even if it was a quasi-saint, it would take some effort to take it. Congratulations, the host has comprehended the essence of the microcosm. The voice of the system reached Yanqing's soul. System. Yanqing's mind moved, and he came to the Holy Land in the Sea of Consciousness. System, why didn't you tell me that there was a problem with my practice? Yanqing asked. He was very confused about this question. You know, the system is the most concerned about the affairs of the Saint Sire. He didn't play the real power of the microcosm, and the system should tell him. Sorry, host, because the system itself didn't know that such a problem would occur. You didn't know? Yanqing was stunned. As a benefit for Travis's, this system should be very powerful, able to make holy clothes, and have all kinds of magical functions. How could it not even see such a problem? Yes, the system's information is not complete. Before the human emperor pointed it out, the system always thought that the host was on the right path of microcosmic cultivation. The system said honestly. How could this be? Yanqing murmured. The system's answer made him think of the existence of the system itself, but he was not sure yet. After getting familiar with the huge microcosm in his body, Yanqing opened his eyes and saw Lan sitting next to him, not taking Gai. Senior Lan, why are you here? Yanqing asked. I heard some noise here, so I came to see. Your elders asked me to take care of you, and then disappeared. Lan said. That's it. Yanqing was a little disappointed that he couldn't see Daking Gai, but he quickly adjusted his mood, stood up and saluted, saying, thank you, Senior Lan, for protecting me. It's just a little help, don't worry about it, but Yanqing, you should go back, otherwise Leng Yi and the others will worry about your current situation. Lan said lightly. Well, Senior Lan, I will go back with you now, Yanqing said. The two of them moved very fast, drawing two invisible white lines in the sky, splitting the void, and returned to the ice palace in a blink of an eye. November, this month is going to explode. Please subscribe. First of all, I want to say sorry. I didn't update twice a week as usual. The reason is very simple. The subscription is too low. I thought that with more than 9,000 collections, the first subscription would be 200 to 300, but I didn't expect it to be less than 100. My mood was suddenly depressed, and I lost the motivation to write. If you like it, just post it. 12 knows that the low subscription is my own problem. There is nothing to complain about. I can only blame myself for my lack of experience in writing books and my poor writing. My family also complained that writing books is too tiring and only makes a few $100 a month. They asked 12 to give up and focus on studies, but 12 felt that I had to stick to it. After all, I put too much effort into this book. If the average subscription can reach 200, I can get about $1,000 a month plus full attendance. Although the money is not much, it can also be explained to my family. So this month, 12 wants to make a push to see if I can reach this number. This month, I will resume normal updates. The chapters owed in October, plus the promised extra chapters, will be a total of 12 chapters. Gradually make up for it. At least 80 chapters will be updated this month. So, dear book friends, please support the genuine subscription, so that 12 will be more motivated to write and finish this book. Subscribing to a chapter costs less than 10 cents. Considering 12's update volume, it is only 7 or 8 yuan a month at most. It is really not expensive, just like a meal. I hope everyone can recognize my efforts and the words I write. I don't ask for any rewards, but only for a subscription, so that 12 can feel that his efforts are worthwhile. I would like to thank Xiaorao Handan for his reward, Shen Kaiang Beiwan for his reward, Shan Daolun Hui 2014 for his gift chapter, and many book friends who subscribed silently. There were too few updates last week, and I was really ashamed. I dare not add the author's words after the chapter. Now I'm here to express my gratitude, and I have the nerve to say that I hope everyone will continue to support 12 in the future. The following is about the explanation of the plot. Friends who have read the latest chapter should all know that the protagonist has no energy and uses the microcosm to drive his moves. Now he is a real Saint Sire. He has no connection with the cultivation realms of transcendence and immortality. He directly uses the 6th sense and the 7th sense as the original microcosm cultivation levels as the realm division. This is actually what I thought of from the beginning. After the protagonist adapts to the human cultivation system, he will jump out of this cultivation system. Not only Yanqing, Lengai is also like this, and the subsequent Saint Sire are also like this. The energy source of the Saint Sire is a microcosm, not something else. The Earth chapter will be very exciting. The Draco constellation will appear soon. Of course, there are other constellations, but I won't talk about the specific 12. Finally, I will attach a piece of news that excites me as a Saint fan. Saint Seiya is going to have a new animation called Saint Seiya Golden Soul. As the name suggests, this animation is an animation with the Golden Saint as the protagonist, and the Golden God cloth appears. Just thinking about it makes my blood boil. If you are interested, you can search for Golden Soul on the internet. Chapter 166, Microcosmic Cultivation System. Master, how should the microcosm be used? Yanqing humbly asked for advice. As the emperor of the human race, Yanqing was at the highest level of cultivation. His vision was extraordinary. He could see the essence of things through phenomena and the complete context of things through a trace. As for the microcosm in his body, Yanqing, who possessed the peak power of humans, must be able to see the secrets of the microcosm that he could not see. But what made Yanqing depressed was that Yanqing waved his hand and rejected his inquiry. Let's talk about this question later. Yanqing, let me ask you, what do you know about UN energy? Yanqing thought for a while and said, UN energy is the foundation of all cultivation. Moves are condensed and played by UN energy, and realms are continuously improved by UN energy accumulation. After being promoted to the immortal realm, UN energy will be refined into a higher level of energy UN gang. Yanqing nodded and said, well, that's right, but this is relative to the star core cultivation system. UN energy is not applicable to other cultivation systems. Other cultivation systems? Yanqing asked in confusion. That's right. For example, the God clan cultivates divine power, and the Spirit clan cultivates spiritual power, not UN energy. The use of their own energy by these two clans is completely different from that of us humans. And your microcosm also has a unique cultivation system, which can be called a microcosm cultivation system. The energy for cultivation is naturally not UN energy, but the microcosm itself. Yanqing tapped the armrest of the recliner with his fingers and said slowly, Palace Master, what do you mean? Yanqing's heart was shaken, and a vague thought flashed through his mind. He seemed to understand what Yanqing wanted to say. Yanqing got up from the recliner and said seriously, Yanqing, when you started practicing, you were completely wrong. The path of cultivation you took cannot be applied to the things of the star core cultivation system. In other words, UN energy should not exist in your body, and the realms of transcendence, immortality, sainthood, and emperor are not suitable for you. Because you practiced the Sun Sutra, you generated UN energy when you entered the transcendence realm, which led to the mixing of the two cultivation systems, causing the microcosm to become a substitute for the star core. The power of your own microcosm was therefore covered by UN energy, and could not exert its true power. In fact, the level of your microcosm has already reached the level of immortals. Therefore, you can control the energy of only the realm of the transcendent realm. But if you break through to the level of immortals, the energy will grow and become equal to the microcosm. Then the energy in the microcosm will conflict, causing great damage to the body and soul. Just now, I increased the energy in your body, but it was only about 1% of the total microcosm, and you fell to the ground. It can be seen how serious your current cultivation problem is. Fortunately, I came not too late. Otherwise, you would be finished. Yanqing said with a smile. So, the Lord of the Mansion asked me to abolish martial arts and eliminate all the energy in order to restore the real microcosm cultivation system. Yes. Yanqing said leisurely. It turned out to be like this. It turns out that my efforts were in the wrong direction. Yanqing said bitterly. He didn't expect that he would actually walk into a dead end, standing on the edge of a cliff, and almost fell into the abyss. However, it is a good thing to be able to discover it now. Yanqing thought silently, quickly sorted out his mood, and calmed down. A look of approval flashed in Yanqing's eyes. After such a big blow, he was able to recover quickly. He deserves to be the successor that he and Yi Yang and the other four are optimistic about. Master, what should I do to abolish martial arts and eliminate all the energy? Yanqing asked. In order to save time, I will help you with this. If you do this process by yourself, it will take at least half a year to complete it. Yanqing walked in front of Yanqing and said, the process may be a little painful, you have to bear it. Daking did not wait for Yanqing to answer and put one hand on Yanqing's shoulder. A huge and abundant law power rushed into Yanqing's body, flushing Yanqing's meridians and washing away the energy. Ah! Yanqing screamed in pain. This feeling was like a knife cutting every part of his body, like a slow slicing. Every nerve was almost broken, and the pain reached the extreme. But along with this pain, the small universe in Yanqing's body suddenly trembled. The stars in the sea of stars became much brighter, and all 88 constellations shone brightly. Waves of energy surged out, which was far more powerful than the previous small universe. If Yanqing's original strength was 1, now Yanqing, who has fully exerted the power of his small universe, has a strength of 20, or even more. The difference is really too big. Yanqing's small universe is currently at the peak of the middle level of the 6th sense, and is about to break through to the higher level of the 6th sense. If measured by the realm of the star core cultivation system, it is almost the 2nd level of the immortal realm. The area was changing color, with Pegasus flying across the sky, cold white birds dancing, flaming phoenixes singing, and a huge universe emerging behind Yanqing, slowly turning. After all the energy was stripped out of Yanqing's body, the small universe that was fully released showed many mysteries that Yanqing had never seen, and he suddenly fell into enlightenment. At this moment, Yanqing finally truly understood the essence of the small universe. Daking showed a satisfied look, and his palm moved away from Yanqing's body. Suddenly, his body twisted and flashed violently several times. The clone separated by the mirror flower and water moon exists for a very short time. Fortunately, the things to be done have been completed, Daking said to himself. Whoosh! Lang noticed something unusual here, and moved over from Shaoyang Mountain at high speed. He saw Yanqing sitting cross-legged in the figure that was about to disappear. Human Emperor clone. Lan's pupils contracted. He keenly noticed that Daking had the majesty of an emperor that shook the heavens. Oh, you are an acquaintance of Yanqing, right? I'll leave my Yanqing to you. Daking greeted Lan, and he felt Yanqing's aura on Lan. The saint in front of him was very powerful. Daking was surprised that Yanqing could have an intersection with such a saint, but after thinking about it, Daking was relieved again. As a person with the same origin as Zeman, his actions naturally cannot be speculated by ordinary people's thinking. Don't worry, Lord Human Emperor, leave Yanqing to me. Lan saluted Daking respectfully. Every human emperor has made indelible contributions to the human race and deserves the respect of all humans. He originally guessed that Yanqing was a disciple of a big force, but he didn't expect that the force behind Yanqing was so terrifying, with a human emperor in charge. Thank you, you are from the Ice Palace, right? I will treat you to a drink, if I have the chance. Daking nodded slightly, and his body turned into light rain, and disappeared with the wind. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 168. I want to go on the road alone. Please subscribe. PS. Thanks to the 1000-year-old lurking fan, DU, for voting for the monthly ticket. 12 will continue to work hard, and there will be 2 more chapters in the evening. It took Yanqing a long time to eliminate all the energy. When he and Lan returned to the base, it was already the evening of the 2nd day. There were already stars in the sky and the night began to fall. Leng Yi, Guzang and others saw Yanqing following Lan, and they couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. In the past 2 days, they have been very worried about Yanqing, afraid that Yanqing would become depressed and out of control because of Qin Ziyang's departure. But now they can rest assured. Yanqing's mental state is still the same as usual, even better than before, and his will is even stronger. Your small universe. Leng Yi's eyes condensed. He, who has a small universe, noticed that Yanqing had undergone earth-shaking changes. Compared with 2 days ago, Yanqing's small universe is simply not on the same order of magnitude. Yanqing nodded and said, I found the correct way to practice the small universe, so it's like this. The correct way to practice the small universe? Leng Yi pondered. Well, we all took the wrong path and didn't grasp the essence of the microcosm. Yanqing sighed because the system's understanding of the microcosm was also wrong. The information flow received by Leng Yi was also a practice method that mixed two cultivation systems, which was the same as Yanqing's situation. No wonder I didn't operate the energy in my body as smoothly as before. I thought it was a normal phenomenon, but I didn't expect that there was a problem with my practice. Leng Yi said to himself. When he practiced martial arts in the past, he had extremely fine control over the energy, as if he was waving his arms, and he didn't allow the energy to have any abnormalities. However, when he was crushing the star core, after practicing the microcosm, he used the microcosm to drive the energy, but it was not as smooth as before. It feels very unnatural. After listening to the conversation between the two, Lan's face moved slightly. 2 days later, Yanqing's aura became much stronger. It turned out that the human emperor corrected Yanqing's path. It must be said that Yanqing's current strength is very terrifying. Even at Yanqing's age, he had just reached the immortal realm, while Yanqing was already comparable to the 4th level of the immortal realm. In this way, Leng Yi's strength can be greatly improved. Lan's eyes flashed with a strange light, and he remembered the prophecy of the Ice Palace great sage 1,000 years ago. If the Imperial army passes through, it will be the time for the Swan Star region to rise. The prophecy was indeed fulfilled. After Yanqing arrived with the Imperial army, the Swan Star region solved the Zerg crisis, established a battle line, and became prosperous. Lan sighed in his heart and said, "Master, you always think that I'm the most outstanding successor in the past 1,000 years. I can take on important tasks, but your disciple is far better than me. He is the hope of our entire star region. I have reached the peak of my life and cannot move forward. Leng Yi is different. He will definitely be better than me in the future and perhaps reach the highest realm that no Ice Palace master of all generations can reach. Let me, the master, remove all the energy in Leng Yi's body. The All-Star Region competition is coming soon. As the representative of the younger generation of my Swan Star region, you must go to the war and use the next time to practice. Don't waste it on this," Lan said. All-Star region competition? Leng Yi was puzzled. Lan had never told him about this. Leng Yi is going to participate in the All-Star region competition? Yanqing asked in surprise. Is Leng Yi going to Earth too? Yes, this is a competition involving hundreds of star regions. According to the strength of each star region, 1 to 3 demon geniuses will be selected to compete on the Earth, the first star of mankind. The purpose of the competition is to demonstrate the strength of the major forces in the star region, and to use this as an important basis for judging the star region rankings every 30 years. Lan explained. In this case, this competition is indeed a must. Leng Yi understood that the star region ranking is not a false honor, but a real resource allocation system. The higher the ranking, the more resources the Galaxy Alliance will allocate. The Swan Star region has been ranked in the top 100 over the years, and is in the middle and lower reaches of all star regions, with very few resources allocated. It's a pity that 30 years ago, Lan missed the All-Star region competition because of a very important retreat. Otherwise the Swan Star region would definitely be able to break into the top 50. This time is an opportunity for the Swan Star region. Leng Yi must get a good ranking, so that the Galaxy Alliance will tilt more resources towards the Swan Star region. In fact, the same is true for the Centaurus Star region, where Yanqing is located. Daking Gai asked Yanqing to win the first place, to revive the power of Cheyenne Fu, and at the same time, to win more resources for the Centaurus Star region. The current ranking of the Centaurus Star region is 39th, which is obviously inconsistent with the power of Cheyenne Fu with the human emperor, but as long as it wins the first place, the ranking of the Centaurus Star region can enter the top 10. Leng Yi, I also want to participate in the All-Star region competition. This way we can meet again. Yanqing laughed and put his arm around Leng Yi's shoulders. Leng Yi's face twitched. He was still not used to Yanqing's intimate actions. He struggled a few times, but when he couldn't break free, he could only endure it. Wait. Leng Yi suddenly felt that something was wrong with Yanqing's words. Yanqing said to meet again. Could it be? Yanqing, are you going to leave? Not going to Earth with us? Leng Yi frowned and asked. Yes, because my road of trial is not over yet. In the next month, I want to go to trial alone. We'll meet when the all-star competition starts. Yanqing looked at the starry sky, his eyes flashing with an inexplicable light. Leng Yi was silent for a while, and said, "It's up to you. Since you have your own ideas, then do it. Don't make no progress in this month, otherwise I will surpass you. Wait for you to catch up, but if you want to surpass me, Leng Yi, more than a month is not enough." Yanqing laughed very heartily, with strong confidence in his words. "When are you leaving?" Leng Yi asked. "The day after tomorrow. I have to stay in the Swan Star region for another 2 days. I will leave again after the breakthrough of the microcosm." Yanqing considered. "The day after tomorrow, I will dispatch a starship and send you directly to the Earth." "No need, Leng Yi, I can walk this section of the road by myself." Yanqing shook his head. He wanted to go on the road alone. This time it was his own choice, and he didn't need anyone's help. "Okay," Leng Yi sighed. He was keenly aware that Qin Xiang's departure had a profound impact on Yanqing. Although Yanqing's appearance had not changed, his heart must have been greatly shocked. Yanqing should be extremely eager to become stronger now. "I hope that in the next month, his state of mind can recover," Leng Yi said silently in his heart. Chapter 169, Departure, Subscription Request. PS. So far, the chapter of the Road of Trials has ended, and the next chapter will start the chapter of the Earth. Thank you for the tip from Sister Kinglian. In the past 2 days, the warriors of the Ice Palace held a banquet as a farewell banquet for Yanqing. Many people got drunk, and Yanqing was no exception. Even Leng Yi, who didn't like drinking, joined in and drank together, until they were drunk. Lan sat quietly on the top of the mountain, watching Yanqing, Leng Yi and the others. His cold face softened a lot. In the past, he, Wu Liang and Yang Shan had had such an experience, but it was a pity that those days were long gone. Such leisurely time is always short. 2 days passed in a blink of an eye, and it was time for Yanqing to leave. Yanqing turned the space ring, and put all the things he wanted to take into it. As soon as he walked out of the door, Wen Xiaobei rushed over, grabbed the corner of his clothes, and choked up and said, "Brother Yan, are you really going to go alone? Can you take Xiaobei with you? Xiaobei also wants to go with you." Yanqing stretched out his hand, rubbed Wen Xiaobei's head, and said gently, "I'm sorry, Xiaobei, this time I'm training to refine my heart. I can't take care of you along the way. Xiaobei, you should stay with Leng Yi and others and practice well. We will see each other on Earth in more than a month." "Well, it's settled," Yanqing said with a smile. "Yanqing, there is no civilian starship berthing area on Langjiao Star. You have to take a small starship back to Xiangsuan Star and transfer to a large starship. Do you really not need us to send someone to take you directly to Earth?" Leng Yi couldn't help asking. "No need." Yanqing shook his head. "Although it's a little troublesome, I want to experience this process. Since I came to the Swan Star region, I have been in constant battle. Although my realm has improved a lot, my state of mind has not improved. I think maybe I should change my way to practice," Yanqing said seriously. Leng Yi showed a helpless look on his face. These 2 days, he and Guzan had persuaded him many times, but Yanqing didn't change his mind at all. He was too stubborn. Even 8 starships couldn't pull him back from his decision. "Okay, the starship is ready. The shipmaster is Chenzi, who has an excellent qualification certificate. He will drive the starship. You can rest assured. You can leave at any time now." Leng Yi regained his composure and said, "Leng Yi, thank you. It's really reliable to have a friend like you." Yanqing hugged Leng Yi again and sighed. Yanqing, Leng Yi and Wen Xiaobei came to the place where the small starship was parked. At this time, the place was full of people, all warriors from the Ice Palace. Guzan walked over from the side with a silver harp in his hand. His face was pale, and his condition had worsened in the past few days. He would soon return to the Music Palace in the Lyristar region for treatment. "Yanqing, we will see each other again on Earth soon." Guzan's hair was flying, and his sick body could not hide his outstanding and elegant temperament. "You are also going to participate in the All-Star Region competition?" Yanqing asked in surprise. "Yes, there are really not many people in our Lyristar region who can go, so I have to go." but I don't think I will get a good ranking this time. After all, my body is too weak to bear it. Guzang smiled bitterly. Yanqing pondered for a while. With a slight wave of his hand, the 5-colored divine light appeared. Flashing with various colors, he said, "Remember, you are looking for the 5-element divine object. Is this magic weapon condensed from the innate 5-element essence useful to you?" Guzang shook his head and said, "No, this innate 5-element essence is already incomplete. If it is not incomplete, it may be of some use to me. Yanqing, you should keep it. It would be great if it were complete." Yanqing said regretfully. If it can solve the problem with Guzang, it doesn't matter if this 5-color divine light is used up. Don't worry, I'm very lucky. I can hold on for a year or two. Guzang looked very free and easy. He has been on the line between life and death many times since he was a child, and he doesn't care about life and death. Yanqing, see you next time. I hope you can become stronger. I'm looking forward to your performance in the All-Star Domain competition. Lan came over and said lightly, "Senior Lan, thank you for your guidance," Yanqing said with a fist. In the past 2 days, Lan and he had conducted many discussions on cultivation, and Yanqing gained a lot. Originally, Yanqing wanted to bow to Lan, but Lan refused many times, so he could only change to a fist salute. "Lord Yan, I wish you a safe journey," Guking and other Rice Palace warriors said in unison. They were very grateful to Yanqing. On Lan Geostar, Yanqing wiped out the blood sect and other sects, and vented their anger. When the Zerg invaded, Yanqing seriously injured the 5th class Zerg General Gulu, laying the foundation for victory and saving the entire Lan Geostar. Although it is very likely that we will not meet again in the future, we once had a period of fighting and struggling together. I will remember this time in my heart. Yanqing looked at the warriors of the Ice Palace and smiled. "Lord Yan, we will also remember this time. Lord Yan, you once blocked an enemy's attack for me. I will never forget your life-saving grace. And me too. I was also saved by Lord Yan." Many warriors in the Ice Palace were in tears. Leng Yi looked at this group of warriors in shock and was surprised. Yanqing's personal charm was really high, which made people believe in and thank him from the bottom of their hearts. But this is normal. Leng Yi laughed at himself. Wasn't he the same? And was gradually changed by Yanqing. Yanqing was still scary, like a magnet. He could gather a group of followers and supporters unconsciously. However, only Yanqing could do these things. "Goodbye, everyone." After Yanqing greeted everyone, he boarded the starship alone. Boom. Under the piloting of Chenzi, the starship exploded with a huge roar, flew up, rushed out of the atmosphere, and came to space. Chenzi's operation was very skillful. A few hours later, the starship jumped through hyperspace and came to the interstellar channel outside Shiangsuan star. Under the traction of the planet's gravity, it entered a starship parking lot on Shiangsuan star. "Just send it to me. There is no need to come down," Yanqing said to Chenzi, who was stubborn and wanted to get off the bed. "Master Yan, you are joking. This is my duty. If you let me go, I will be scolded to death by my colleagues when I go back." Chenzi insisted on sending Yanqing to the rest area of the berth. He called a manager over and handled the ship ticket for Yanqing before leaving reluctantly. Yanqing squeezed the ship ticket in his hand and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Leng Yi and the others were too thoughtful, but it was good this way, so he didn't have to work hard. He was about to return to the Earth he had been away from for a long time. He was still looking forward to it when he thought about it. Chapter 170, A Precious Ship Ticket. Basilia. Yanqing silently recited the name of the starship on the ticket, walked to the waiting hall, found a seat, sat down casually, and waited for the arrival of the starship. "Come if you like to play and watch." Looking at the queue of hundreds of meters at the ticket office, Yanqing looked at the ticket in his hand with gratitude. Leng Yi's proper arrangement saved him from the pain of queuing. Starship 2304 will take off in 20 minutes. Passengers who have not boarded the ship, please go to G3 area to board the ship quickly. Starship 3021 will take off in 30 minutes. Starship 5102. The soft female voice sounded through the loudspeaker in various places in the starship berthing area, guiding passengers to board the ship. Strange. Yanqing lay on the comfortable soft chair, squinting his eyes, listened for a while, and felt something was wrong. Why are all the starships with numbers? Yanqing took out the ticket given to him by Chenzi and looked at it repeatedly. The name of the starship on it was indeed Basilia, not a string of numbers. Yanqing looked up and looked around. Compared with his own ship ticket, the ship tickets held by other passengers were obviously not as exquisite as his own. The materials were also very different. Len Yui, this guy. Yanqing sighed. After a little thought, he understood the problem. In other words, in the waiting hall where ordinary passengers were waiting, it was impossible to wait for the takeoff news of a special starship like the Basilia. Yanqing stood up and walked towards the manager's office on the left side of the hall. Since he was not familiar with this place, the easiest way to find the Basilia was to ask the person in charge here. Just as Yanqing walked towards the manager's office, a group of people surrounded two young men and women and walked towards the manager's office. The young man and woman in the lead had an arrogant demeanor and dressed extremely luxuriously. They talked and laughed loudly. The noisy sound broke the tranquility of the waiting hall and disturbed the rest of many passengers. Yanqing approached the manager's office and was about to knock on the door. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew from behind. In Yanqing's perception, a person dressed as a bodyguard walked out of the group of people, stretched out his big hand, and grabbed his neck. Ding. Yanqing took a light step. He avoided the big hand, causing the attacker to exclaim. Yanqing's quick action was obviously beyond his expectation. Because my young master wants to go in, and he wants to go in first, you must make way for my young master, the bodyguard said proudly. Behind him, a young man embraced a charming and beautiful woman. Both of them were covered with expensive jewelry, full of the aura of Navorish. Untouchable. Since you have good skills, why don't you be my subordinate? 10,000 star coins a month. The young man looked at Yanqing, who was dressed very shabby, lazily, with disdain in his eyes. He estimated that the poor man in front of him should be here to make connections with Manager Lu, and he looked very poor. 10,000 star coins is a large number, enough for an ordinary family to live a good life for half a year, but for Yanqing, who has tens of millions of star coins and a rich fortune, it is not worth mentioning at all. No need. Yanqing spit out 3 words and made way. There was no need for him to argue with this group of ignorant and superficial people. What's wrong with letting them go in first? Yanqing's mood fluctuated slightly. As soon as he entered the world, he suffered such a thing. It was indeed very important to experience the world. After experiencing some people and things, his strength should be able to increase significantly again. TSK, do you really think this young master cares about you? A pariah is a pariah. He can't even catch the opportunity to make a lot of money. Don't you think so, Lina? The young man said to the charming woman in his arms. Yes, Master Lin, it is a great blessing for you to give this pariah a chance. It's a pity that he is too stupid to refuse you. Wang Lin smiled sweetly. Her tone was very sweet. Don't worry about this pariah, Master Lin. You should find Manager Lu as soon as possible. It is said that the Basilia is full. Whether this little girl can board the ship this time depends on you. Wang Lin's fingers drew circles on Lin Wei's chest, and her breath was as fragrant as orchid. Lin Wei looked very pleased and laughed. Don't worry, Manager Lu and I are old friends. Even if the boat is full, we can get 2 tickets. Don't worry. When we get on the Basilia, we'll have a good time together. Haha. Hateful. Wang Lin's eyes moved, and he gently hit Lin Wei, saying in a sweet voice, but his seductive body pressed even closer. When Lin Wei walked past Yanqing, he threw some money at Yanqing's feet. He waved his hand and said, you are quite tactful. Give way to me, and I will give you this money as a reward. He led his men into the manager's office almost in a rushing manner, and met with the manager he mentioned. Yanqing was silent for a while. He had never had such an experience of being thrown money for charity. How to say it, his mood was very complicated. He lowered his head and looked at the money scattered on the ground, revealing a mocking expression. His momentum moved slightly, and with a slight shake, he crushed the money into pieces and decomposed it into dust. Even if you enter the world and pretend to be an ordinary person, you must maintain your dignity. Without dignity, you will lose your backbone as a human being. Just as Yanqing was thinking, an excited and high-pitched voice came from the manager's office, which was very intense. Manager Lu, what did you say? The tickets are gone. This is impossible. You must have reserved tickets. Lin Wei roared, looking at Wang Lin's questioning eyes in his arms. His face was burning. In order to seduce Wang Lin, a famous socialite in Blue Light City, he put in a lot of effort, but it didn't work. He accidentally heard that Wang Lin hoped to board the Basilia starship and could accompany someone for a night, and he couldn't help but be overjoyed. Lin Wei boasted to Wang Lin and promised to get a ship ticket, but he didn't expect that a mere ship ticket would be so rare. Mr. Lin, it's really gone. Even if you force me, I can't take it out. A deep voice sounded, neither humble nor arrogant. I'm going to call my father and ask him to come out. Yanqing listened to the conversation inside and couldn't help but sneer. This second generation young man is really useless. He can't pick up girls and brag, but he has to ask his father for help. Basilia, the ship ticket that Leng Yi gave me is really precious. Yanqing shook his head, put his hand on the door, and pushed it gently. Creak. The door opened, and Yanqing was greeted by a surprised look in the manager's office. Chapter 171. Who is the untouchable? Yanqing pushed open the door and walked in slowly under the surprised gazes of Lin Wei and Wang Lin. Untouchable, don't you know I'm discussing important matters with Manager Lu? Get out now. Lin Wei came back to his senses and shouted at Yanqing. He was very angry now. However, after hearing his words, Yanqing remained motionless, with a calm expression, as if he had ignored Lin Wei's words. In fact, it was true. Yanqing didn't care about the words of this useless second generation young master at all. Bodyguard, bodyguard. Take this untouchable out and beat him up. At least break a few bones. Lin Wei said angrily to the bodyguard beside him. Lin Wei lost face because he couldn't get the ticket for the Basilia and his boast was exposed. Wang Lin also restrained the smile on his face and showed a suspicious expression, which made him hold his breath. Lin Wei wanted to vent his anger, and the untouchable who broke in and didn't listen to him was the best target for venting. Yes, master. The two bodyguards responded and then walked towards Yanqing with grim smiles on their faces and crackling joints in their hands. Following Lin Wei was a very happy thing for the two of them. These two men who had been killers liked to hear the sound of other people's bones breaking the most. However, this time, the two of them were destined not to hear the screams of the man in front of them, because they were facing a terrifying genius equivalent to a 4th level immortal, while the two of them were only at the 1st level of the transcendent realm, and the difference in combat power was like the difference between heaven and earth. What they would hear this time would be the sound of their own bones breaking. Yanqing's face was indifferent. He gently stretched out his hand and flicked it twice in the air. Bang, bang. The two figures flew back instantly, with sunken chests. Their limbs twisted and hit the wall heavily. When they fell to the ground, they were unable to move and fainted directly. Lin Wei looked at the two people lying on the ground in disbelief, and then looked at Yanqing who was standing quietly. He swallowed hard, his eyes full of fear. He didn't expect that the person he called a pariah would be such a terrible strong man. You know, these two bodyguards were hired by his father with 600,000 star coins a year. Even against the 2nd level of the transcendent realm and the warriors who condense the star core, they had the strength to fight. Every time they helped him to deal with the pariahs and opponents, they never lost. The man in front of him definitely has the strength of the 4th or 5th level of the transcendent realm, and it is very likely that he will be stronger. You know, there are only 3 warriors who have reached this level in the entire Blue Light City. They are all high and mighty people in power. Lin Wei moved his lips, wanting to say something, but couldn't say it. He actually offended such a terrible strong man. Even if his father came, he couldn't save him. He was so unlucky. The charming Wang Lin was also stunned. No one expected that this poorly dressed pariah would be so powerful. She regretted it so much. If she could meet such a young and powerful man, she would be able to show off when she returned to the city and improve her status as a socialite. Ta ta ta. Yanqing's footsteps were audible in the quiet manager's office. He walked to a middle-aged man surrounded by Lin Wei and Wang Lin and said lightly, "I want to take the Basilia. Where is it?" The middle-aged man reacted from the shock and secretly groaned. He hadn't sent away this young man just now, but another martial arts master came. He was very embarrassed. The middle-aged manager bowed to Yanqing and said, "Sir, I'm so sorry. All the tickets for the Basilia have been booked." There are no more tickets left. Please come back in a week. Sir, if you must go on the Basilia and are not in a hurry to go to the Earth of the beginning star, why don't you stay with me for a week? I will treat you well. Wang Lin looked at the powerful Yanqing and couldn't help but feel amorous. She said in a delicate voice, as if she had forgotten that she had laughed at Yanqing. Yes, sir. My father is a big businessman in Blue Light City. This time the ticket for the Basilia is gone, but next time I will definitely be able to get it for you, sir, and I can take care of all your expenses in Blue Light City. Just consider it as my apology to you. Lin Wei also said in a trembling voice. He wanted to repair his relationship with Yanqing. Seeing that Yanqing was dressed in shabby clothes, he must have a hard time. In this way, he could get in touch with this sir. Thinking of this, he became proud again. Perhaps this adult could become a worshipper of their Lin family and give great help to his father's career. He, the second son who has always been despised by his father, can also help his father. But Lin Wei did not consider that the premise of all this is that Yanqing has to accept it. Yanqing glanced at the two people whose attitude suddenly changed 180 degrees. Without saying a word, he took out a very high-grade ship ticket from his pocket and handed it to the middle-aged manager. The middle-aged manager took the ship ticket handed over by Yanqing with both hands, glanced at it, and was stunned. He was very familiar with this ship ticket. He had personally distributed 10 of them, and each one was handed to a very important person. This one is the ticket for the Basilia, which many people have been begging for, but cannot buy with money. The adult in front of him was able to get it. He is really powerful, and has a deep background. Wang Lin, who was standing next to him, covered her mouth in surprise. She had always longed to board the Basilia and have a long-lasting love affair with the young hero on the distinguished starship. Therefore, she was very familiar with the ticket of the Basilia and could recognize it at once. Lin Wei was stunned. He didn't understand what Yanqing meant by taking out a ticket. I didn't hear any information about it in the waiting hall, so I came to ask where it is. Yanqing asked again. My lord, I'm sorry. The passengers of the Basilia have a special VIP waiting room. You don't know that it's our poor service and mistakes. I will take you there immediately. The middle-aged manager bent his waist even lower and said to Yanqing in an almost humble manner. What? Lin Wei was shocked. Only then did he react that the person in front of him actually had a ticket for the Basilia. He used all his connections, but he couldn't get a ticket. Then lead the way. Yanqing turned and left, not even looking at Wang Lin and Lin Wei, ignoring the two people whose bodies and minds had long been immersed in worldly extravagance and pleasure. Compared with such a parasite who has made no contribution to the human race, who has been corroded by money and power, and squandered his parents' assets. No, even compared with ordinary people who work diligently and hard, who is the pariah? The answer is very obvious. Chapter 172, Ice Palace Badge. Yes, sir. Manager Lu hurriedly walked in front of Yanqing, forcing a warm smile on his face, and led the way for Yanqing. Yanqing walked to the door, paused, and suddenly stopped. He suddenly thought that he had not punished that useless young man for his rude words. Could it be that he had fought too many battles recently and only focused on physical battles, but didn't care about words? Oh, it seems that I need to calm down. Yanqing shook his head and pointed with one finger, and a strong wind went towards Lin Wei. The power of this strong wind was actually very small, but for Lin Wei, who was only in the Xianshan realm, it was a huge force that he could not bear. Lin Wei's chest seemed to be hit by a heavy hammer, and 7 or 8 ribs made a crisp sound and broke directly, piercing into his internal organs. He spurted out a large mouthful of blood and fell straight to the ground. Wang Lin next to him had a dazed expression, and some sticky blood splashed on her beautiful face. She didn't expect Yanqing to use force rudely. In their circle, even if there is a conflict, enemies will not fight directly, but chat and laugh while stabbing in the back. Yanqing's behavior is against the rules. Wang Lin has never seen blood since she was a child. Wang Lin screamed and collapsed on the ground. There was a sound of water dripping under her skirt. She was scared to death by this bloody scene. The bodyguards didn't even dare to move at this time. They stayed where they were and were as silent as cicadas. No one dared to attack Yanqing. The two strongest among them died in a single encounter. They would not attack, which was equivalent to suicide. "Sorry, I accidentally dirty your room," Yanqing said to Manager Lu sincerely. "No, it's okay, sir." Manager Lu forced a smile, and big beads of sweat dripped from his forehead. This sir was really terrible. He seriously injured the second son of the Lin family without any worries. Such a person is either a fool, or does not take the Lin family seriously at all. In the eyes of Manager Lu, Yanqing obviously belongs to the latter. "Sir, this way, the VIP room is located on the upper level of the starship berth. It is specially opened for the passengers of the Basilia. There are bars and cafes inside. It provides various leisure activities. The service is also top-notch in the Swan Star region." Manager Lu kept introducing Yanqing. He could see that this was Yanqing's first visit to their starship berth. He was unfamiliar with everything. Sure enough, has the young lady from the big family on Earth become the target of all forces? Manager Lu's mind was turning over thoughts, but his face did not show a trace. When he saw the two purple downward doors dozens of meters away, he couldn't help but cheer up. The VIP room is finally here. "Sir, this is the VIP room. Because this is where distinguished passengers come in and out. I, a small lobby manager, am not qualified to enter, so I can only send you here. I hope you don't blame me." Manager Lu walked to the door and said respectfully. Yanqing waved his hand and said, "Well, just take me here. Thank you." Yanqing thought for a moment and threw another ice card to Manager Lu, saying, "If someone is unreasonable and wants to make trouble for you, you can show this to him, and he will naturally retreat." This is the Ice Palace waste card given to him by Leng Yi. As long as he gets this waste card, it means that he is a person valued by the Ice Palace. Anyone who dares to attack the person holding the waste card will attack the Ice Palace. It can be said that this waste card is very precious. However, for Yanqing, there are still 7 or 8 such waste cards in his space ring, which are of no use. Manager Lu led the way for him, and he seriously injured the dandy disciple in his office, which will definitely cause him trouble and even make Manager Lu lose his job. After giving him this waste card, all problems can be solved. Although it is a waste, Yanqing does not care. He just wants to experience the various aspects of life and hone his mind in the secular world. "Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir." The manager took the exquisite ice card with surprise. Although he didn't know what this waste card was, since the sir said so, it must be very useful. Squeak. Yanqing pushed open the 2 old doors and walked in leisurely, leaving Manager Lu alone outside. Just when Manager Lu wanted to go back, a man came over angrily and stopped him. "Daifeng, what are you doing? Is this the place you can come?" Manager Lu turned around and looked at the square-faced middle-aged man in front of him. A layer of cold sweat immediately broke out on his back. He secretly cursed in his heart that he happened to run into the general manager of the starship parking lot. Just the day before yesterday, the general manager had criticized him in front of many managers, and even called him to the office alone, and was scolded by the general manager. Lu Feng has always been afraid of the general manager from the bottom of his heart. This time, he left his post without permission during work, and he was expected to be severely criticized by the general manager again. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Despite this, Lu Feng still said to the general manager, "There is a passenger on the Basilia who can't find the VIP room, so he asked me to lead the way." "Lu Feng, what are you talking about? How could someone not know the VIP room? You are lazy again, right? You lost your salary for this year," the general manager said sternly. "General manager, you can't do this." Lu Feng's face fell. Without this year's salary, how could he support his family? He immediately explained to the general manager, but no matter how he explained, the general manager's face became colder and colder, as if water could drip out. Lu Feng was desperate. He knew that the general manager hated him very much at this time, and was afraid that he might be fired. At this time, Lu Feng, who bowed and apologized repeatedly, suddenly fell out of his pocket. The ice card fell to the ground with a ding sound that was clearly audible. "What broken thing?" The general manager glanced at the thing on the ground casually, and his face suddenly changed. He quickly picked up the ice card, carefully checked it several times, and after confirming its authenticity, he immediately took a breath of cold air. "This is the waste card of the Ice Palace. How did it end up in Lu Feng's hands? Lu Feng looked at the general manager in confusion. He didn't understand why the general manager reacted so strongly. Lu Feng, who gave you this? The general manager asked seriously. Lu Feng was stunned and replied, it was a passenger who didn't know about the VIP room. The general manager was silent for a while, walked to Lu Feng, handed him the ICE card, and said, well done, you're promoted. The supervision department is still short of a deputy director. You report to the personnel department tomorrow. General manager. Lu Feng stared blankly at the general manager who suddenly changed his attitude. He was hit by a huge surprise. He was on the edge of the abyss of dismissal and salary penalty just now, but now he was suddenly promoted and given a salary increase. What's going on? Could it be that? Lu Feng looked at the waist card on his chest and thought of a possibility. No, it should be a fact. His heart was beating uncontrollably. This time, thanks to that adult, he got a blessing in disguise. The general manager turned and left. In his heart, he couldn't help but sigh that Lu Feng was really lucky. He was able to get the Ice Palace badge just by leading away. This fully demonstrated that the adults in the Ice Palace recognized this kid. It seems that Lu Feng will have to be trained in the future. Chapter 173 Earth Yang Family. In Yanqing's opinion, the VIP room was not a place to wait for the starship, but a banquet place for the upper class to communicate. This place is really luxurious. The two-color velvet carpet covers the kunshi floor. The ceiling is engraved with dense figures, which are extremely vivid and lifelike. Dozens of golden crystal lamps are seamlessly connected to the ceiling, shining brightly, magnificent and magnificent. Various advanced scientific and technological facilities are placed in the room, and every passenger can get full enjoyment here. In the center of the hall, passengers dressed solemnly and luxuriously chat casually. Each of them is a big figure with great influence. Perhaps a word in the conversation can determine the life and death of a person or the direction of the economy. When the two doors of the VIP room were opened, it attracted the attention of many people. They cast their eyes over one after another, wondering which important person came to this place. But to their surprise, the person who came in was a young man with very simple clothes. This young man looks very strange. He must not be from Shiangsuan Star. Is he from your Yueyang Star? A middle-aged man took a sip of coffee and asked. Absolutely not. Anyone who can come here must be a big shot on Yueyang Star. I have never seen him before. The fat man sitting opposite him narrowed his eyes and immediately made an assertion. I can't see through him. Haha, of course I can't see through him, because he is an ordinary person. A strong man in the immortal realm on Jingsuan Star sneered. Ordinary person? Many people were surprised. According to my insight, there is not a trace of energy in his body. I guess he is the second generation of a sect. He dresses like this. I guess it's also to highlight his existence. The strong man of Jingsuan Star said disdainfully. His insight is very famous in the Swan Star region, and nothing can escape his eyes. Hearing the words of the strong man of Jingsuan Star, many people lost interest in Yanqing and started talking to business partners or martial arts masters again. Yanqing was very surprised that, as soon as he came in, he was surrounded by people like a precious animal. He was very low-key, but it seemed that he was a little too low-key. Yanqing looked down at his clothes. This was the same one he wore in Xianfu, and it was washed quite old. Because Yanqing's small universe is introverted, after removing all the energy, he is just like an ordinary person. His temperament has also returned to its original state, and now he exudes a shabby air all over his body. It seems very out of place in this luxurious place. Yanqing took out a bottle of juice from the beverage machine beside the hall, found a place where no one was, and sat down, waiting for the moment to board the ship. Just when Yanqing was bored, a well-dressed young man walked in front of Yanqing, also holding a bottle of juice. It seemed to be expressing goodwill to Yanqing. Excuse me, can I sit down? The young man said to Yanqing politely. Yanqing nodded and said, well, of course. Please sit down. The young man sat down elegantly opposite Yanqing. He looked at Yanqing carefully for a few times, and suddenly his eyes showed an extremely excited look, and his face flushed with excitement. This made Yanqing shudder. Could this guy be gay? Isn't he very dangerous now? Yanqing vaguely regretted letting this young man sit down. The young man took in Yanqing's disgusted expression. He was startled, then reacted and waved his hands at Yanqing, saying, "Sir, my sexual orientation is normal, not gay, you misunderstood." The young man realized that he was a little excited, coughed lightly, regained his composure, and said to Yanqing, "The reason why I'm so excited is because I have seen you, Sir Yanqing, before. You know my name, and have you seen me?" Yanqing asked in confusion. "Yes, I'm from the Aurora Star." The young man unscrewed the bottle cap and took a sip of juice. "I see." Yanqing was relieved. He killed Wei Gong and caused a sensation around the world. In addition, Xuancheng, that guy, also released an announcement about his photo and wanted to find him for a fight. It was normal for the young man to know him. "By the way, how is Xuancheng?" Yanqing asked. Now his strength is comparable to the 4th level of the immortal realm. If possible, he really wants to fight with Xuancheng. Unfortunately, he has left the Swan Star region and no longer has that opportunity. Master Shen and Master Bingchen are in seclusion together, trying to break through the realm of quasi-saints, the young man said. He seemed a little embarrassed in front of Yanqing. Yanqing smiled and said, "Relax, I'm not a man-eating tiger, what are you afraid of? By the way, what's your name?" "My name is Feng Yang, and I'm the young master of Xianai sect." The young man introduced himself. When he thought that the man in front of him was a terrible strong man who had killed immortals and forced a large force to disband, he couldn't calm down. His master was just an immortal at the same level as Wei Gong. Feng Yang talked with Yanqing for a while, and the gap between them gradually disappeared and became familiar. Feng Yang also relaxed. In fact, Yanqing in front of him was not that scary. He felt the same as ordinary people of the same generation, and even gentler. Yanqing wanted Feng Yang to call him by his name directly, otherwise it would be awkward to call him Master Yanqing all the time. But Feng Yang didn't dare to call Yanqing by his name directly, and he insisted. Yanqing couldn't get him to change his mind, so he had to give up. "Sir, you are here to look for the young lady from the great family on Earth. There are many competitors this time. You must not be outdone by them," Feng Yang said with a smile. "Young lady from a great family?" Yanqing was stunned. "You don't know?" Feng Yang asked strangely. "The forces that boarded the Basilia this time were all here to seek cooperation with the young lady, and so was he. Why would I look for her? I just want to return to Earth this time. I have no other purpose." Yanqing shrugged and drank the juice in the bottle. "No way." Feng Yang looked at Yanqing in disbelief. "This lord actually boarded the Basilia starship just to return to Earth. You know, the price of this ship ticket on the black market is tens of millions of star coins. You all came for her?" Yanqing asked with some interest. Feng Yang calmed down and said, "This young lady is looking for a sales agent for the Battle.net virtual helmet in the Swan Star region. This is a new project worth hundreds of billions of star coins. It has been popularized in other star regions and is very popular. She chose the location for selecting sales agents on the Basilia and announced the candidates directly on this battleship. When she returned to Earth, she signed the contract. Now all the big forces here are here for her. Is that so?" Yanqing nodded. No wonder that rich young man couldn't get a ship ticket. Leng Yi bought him such a ticket without asking in advance. He didn't want to get involved in this matter. "Who is the young lady from Earth?" Yanqing asked. "The young lady is called Yangxin," Feng Yang said. At this time, the door of the VIP room opened, and a group of people walked in. The one walking in the front was a beautiful woman with black hair and a hot body. She looked arrogant and raised her chin high. "That's the one." Feng Yang pointed at the woman in front of the door and said to Yanqing, "She is from the Yang family on Earth." "The Yang family on Earth?" Yanqing's body trembled, and he looked at the arrogant black-haired woman with shock in his eyes. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.